Power Rangers Roar. Hey Wolfpack, Catastrophe here, and we're doing another surprise tier list. This time we're talking about the last Power Rangers show I've watched all the way through, the Dino Thunder Rangers. Dino Thunder, power up! Hey Shadowlink, glad you made it. Yep, we're finally talking about one of the last Power Rangers shows I actually watched and recently binged all the way through, the Dino Thunder Rangers. Dino Thunder was a part of the Disney era of Power Rangers, and it was the show that brought Tommy Oliver back to be the mentor for a whole new generation of Power Rangers. And fans love this one because it is the closest we got to recapturing the glory days of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Why? Because once again we have teenagers with attitude turning into dinosaur-themed Power Rangers. Something that was done all the way back in the Mighty Morphin era. And we have all the villains again, we got a lot of one-shot characters, and of course, your favorite Dino Thunder cast members. Got the core 3, got Tommy Oliver, our 6th Ranger Trent, and all their wacky cast members and monsters of the week on here. I will be ranking them all up on this tier list, ranking them from top best to bottom worst. So if this is your first ever tier list, we'll go over it briefly if you're new here or haven't experienced these kind of things. I will be ranking every character who mattered from the Dino Thunder series up here on this tier list as we talk about the show, talk about the characters, and how fun or how god-awful they were. Up top we have Triassic Triumph. These are the S tier, the Platinum Skulls, the perfect 10 out of 10s, the best characters of the show, and they most likely made Power Rangers history. Then we have Apex Predator. These ones are A. Good, not great. Had some scratches, some criticisms, some things that you don't like about them, but overall I would say they are good characters. They did their job, they were fun. I like them, but I just don't love them. Then, in the middle, we have Beta Drone. These ones are mid, they're fine, they're okay, they're bronze territory. Had a lot of good going for them, but also some criticisms, some stuff that held them back, which is why they're smack in the middle in Beta Drone. Then, Cassidy Clueless. These ones, kind of forgettable. We'll be seeing a lot of generic monsters of the week down here, but pretty meh, below average, didn't make a big impression on me, or I just plain didn't like them. But at rock bottom, we also have Dino Dung. Yeah, you know how bad these ones are. The 0 out of 10s, the worst characters on the show, the worst monsters, and we'll be seeing a few down here, mostly monsters of the week, but as you can see, we also have Lothor on here. So we'll see where this list takes us, but you get it. Dino Dung's rock bottom, the 0's a total F tier. And I will be ranking every character we have ever had on this show, mostly the ones who mattered, a lot of monsters of the week. This one might be a lot easier because Dino Thunder had a much smaller cast, and some of these were full-blown one-shot characters, but a lot of greats are on here too. We got Tommy Oliver, Trent, and of course, who can forget Mesagog and Elsa. Okay, so if you don't know, Power Rangers Dino Thunder was one of the Disney era shows. It came right after Ninja Storm. Ninja Storm is a series I have a few mixed feelings on. I really loved it back in the day, but it's the one show I think I've kind of changed my tune on. Dino Thunder came right after, and basically it tried to get reattached to the roots of Power Rangers. Very much felt like a new generation's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We had regular-ass teenagers with attitude, with regular problems, a lot of slice-of-life episodes, you know, morals, cautionary tales. The heroes always learned and matured from a mistake. A lot of character development. The characters initially are from different cliques and don't like each other, but slowly but surely form an odd friendship, which made Power Rangers as great as it always is. And during this story, they fight their main villain, Mesagog, and his two minions, Elsa, Zeltrax, and later the White Dino Ranger clone. Yeah, a lot to say on him, but yeah, basically, the villains are evil dinosaur mutants who want to return the Earth to the day when dinosaurs ruled the world by basically exterminating all of humankind with their monsters of the weeks and insane schemes, which the Power Rangers routinely foil. Yep, classic good versus evil. Mesagog, very much a very creepy villain. We'll have a lot to say on him, but basically, they're trying to stop them from giving birth to dinosaurs again, exterminating humankind, and taking over the world, of course. Tommy Oliver is brought back for the first time in years, this time as an actual main character. He is not a guest star like on Forever Red. Tommy Oliver is now a teacher at a local high school, hoping to settle down and have a quiet life, but as we all know, being a Power Ranger is pretty much a full-time career that never lets you go. Tommy is back in the saddle, and he becomes the mentor figure towards these new kids when they accidentally stumble upon the Dino Gems, giving them the Power Ranger abilities, and Tommy becomes a sort of mentor figure to them, whilst also undergoing some character development himself. V Scorpio, hey everyone, hey V Scorpio, you made it. Doing Dino Thunder early in the morning. Really wanted to get this one done and over with because this weekend I had a much bigger tier list plan. But we're going to finally talk about the Dino Thunder show and all the colorful characters, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the Lothor. Going to be ranking them all, so I guess we should finally get this tier list underway, but last thing I'll mention, Dino Thunder is a series I actually do really like. It is one of the golden Power Ranger shows. A lot of people love it. I would not be surprised if it's in people's top 10. Won't lie, rewatching Power Rangers kind of made me appreciate a lot of the older seasons. Dino Thunder used to be in my top 3, and it's not bad, but it has been kicked down a peg by some of the other shows which I watch and appreciate for the first time ever. I love Lost Galaxy, love Time Force, love In Space, and honestly watching some of these made me realize how much good Power Rangers truly had. I finally watched RPM for the first time and it was awesome. I rewatched Lightspeed Rescue, and I still really like it. I rewatched Ninja Storm, and honestly, it's not as bad as I remember. I watched Wild Force, and this one actually did kind of go up for me. Master Org is an incredible villain, and Merrick is my favorite Six Ranger, so Dino Thunder, it's not bad, but it has been outclassed by a few other shows. Oh yeah, SPD I also rewatched. Dino Thunder I would still say is a very good show. It is golden. It would be high up there still regardless, but no longer my top 3, but I will not deny this is a fun show, and it's full of very fun characters. Top 5 for me, definitely along with Time Force, RPM, Lost Galaxy, and In Space. Okay, good, Shadowlink. Glad some people still like it. I would still put this show as a whole onto S tier, but rewatching Power Rangers kind of made me appreciate a lot of the other shows I never fully finished or never actually saw, like RPM. I recently started Zeo for the first time, still a bit mixed feelings on that, the crossover did not help, but yeah, Zeo's starting to enter my radar, but Dino Thunder, it's still good, and it does have a lot of good characters, which is why we should finally start this tier list. So, as is per tradition, let's start with, who else, our Red Ranger, Connor McKnight. Connor, surprise, going into S tier, Triassic Triumph. Connor is a great Red Ranger, regardless of the actor kind of distancing himself from Power Rangers. Connor is very much a new generation's Jason. They try to make him like the new Tommy Oliver, but I do get a lot of Jason and Rocky vibes out of him. Connor initially is the arrogant jerk jock. He is too cool for school, the big man on campus, a bit sexist since he taunts the female principal and calls Kira babe. Connor, at first, wants nothing to do with being a superhero. Then when they get roped into being Power Rangers, Connor starts to mature. He grows up, he gets better, wises up, starts treating his teammates like friends. Connor very much is the character who has to grow up. He's the one who grows out of his shell, the one who looks past being shallow, past the surface, and becomes the true badass Red Ranger up there with all the other iconic Reds. Fun fact, remember when the Parasaur was doing a dance? Well, in the Super Sentai like as was shown in that Hobbit Ranger dub episode, the Zords got human level intelligence. Yeah, I saw that, the Lost in Translation episode where the Power Rangers actually sit down and watch a dubbed version of the Japanese show. That one was pretty trippy and meta. What would Japan know about Power Rangers? And the Parasaur talks like a Spanish person. Hey, Cat. Hey, Akira. Power Rangers roar. Power Rangers soar. Dino Thunder. Yeah, that kick-ass theme song. I will say, Dino Thunder has one of the top 3 best theme songs ever. Their theme song is easily the best part and what I remembered the most. You know, outside of Mesagog traumatizing our nightmares. Okay, so anyways, Red Ranger Connor has a very simple arc. Dino Thunder very much is aimed at kids, but it is very fun. It's trying to capture Mighty Morphin's feel, and in my opinion, out of all the cheap Mighty Morphin knockoffs, this one actually succeeded and fared better than most, especially the Nickelodeon era. Dino Thunder actually felt like it was trying to be Mighty Morphin, actually capture that kind of campy vibe. The characters are teenagers with attitude, and Tommy Oliver being in the show pretty much cemented that, and even Cassidy and Devin are kind of a new generation's Bulk and Skull. Connor, the arrogant jerk who grows up and learns to be a good teammate. Yep, Connor is kind of mean at first, but he becomes a team player, essentially. The Power Rangers become his friends. He accepts being a superhero, which kind of makes the fact that the actor does not look fondly back on this role kind of sadder. He does come back in the SPD crossover, so clearly he did care at one point. But I like Connor. He's a soccer player. He's at first immature, brash, reckless, more so an Anakin Skywalker type of Power Ranger, but he does get the job done. He does do good. Connor, I think one of his best episodes is he's trying to score with this activist hippie girl. He at first is just lying and pretending to care to impress her, but then Connor, the Passion of the Connor, I believe what it was called. Connor grows a moral compass, grows his passion, and I believe in that same episode he gets his Battleizer armor. He kills Zeltrax for killing the tree. The tree was actually magic and had this super serum in it. It helped Zeltrax save his life. Then he plans to use the tree to take over the world, but Connor gains his Battleizer form and blows the tree up and finally kicks Zeltrax's butt, proving that he is a worthy Red Ranger, and he changes enough to impress the hippie chick, where they become sort of a couple and then are dating in the prom finale. Yeah, there's always a prom finale in these teen shows, but yeah. Connor changes the most, and by the time we meet him in the SPD crossover, he's now like the coach of a Little League soccer team. He has like his own professional team, I believe. Connor very much grows up. It's his coming of age story. All the teens do get their own character arcs, but Connor, I think, has the most because it's basically him straightening up, becoming a team player, and actually becoming nicer to his friends. I do think he's a very kick-ass Red Ranger. It's no secret that Tommy Oliver kind of overshadowed him, but that's because hardcore Rangers loved Tommy since the beginning. He looks like if him as Peter Parker, then Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Yeah, well, Andrew Garfield kind of looked too old for high school, but I liked his Spider-Man. Plus, interesting how he technically has 2 Battleizer forms, though. That wasn't always the case since the Triassic Ranger was going to be a different 6th Ranger in general. Yeah, Devin was supposed to be the 6th Ranger, and Cassidy was going to be the pink Dino Thunder Ranger, but apparently those plans didn't fall through, and they weren't able to get proper Sentai footage. Devin was going to be the official 6th Ranger, but then they saw it was just an upgraded Battleizer form for the Red Ranger. So they canceled that. So like Hiroshi from Hell Teacher Nube, since he loves soccer. Well, a lot of characters love soccer, Akira. Though I personally like the Triassic Ranger better than the actual Battleizer form, since that was a bit silly with the stretchy arms. Yeah, those effects where his Stretch Armstrong arms reach out and grab villains, that did not age very well. The CGI and digital effects of Dino Thunder are easily the worst effects. It's why I love watching older Power Rangers, because they relied much more on practical effects. Anyways, Connor is a total Triassic triumph. He is a great Red Ranger. He made it S tier on my Red Rangers tier list, and my thoughts and feelings haven't changed much. He's not in my top 5 Reds, but I still appreciate the character. He's still fun, and he's somebody who I think a lot of little boys would gravitate towards. Definitely an S tier Red. But now let's do our main villain, the one you all really want to see, Mesagog. Yes, Elsa. I plan to take the Earth back to the era where dinosaurs ruled the world. Mesagog. Yep, you can guess. He's going on to S tier. Triassic Triumph. Do I even need to really say much? This guy not only is a badass and scary villain, but he was so intimidating, he traumatized kids for generations. The makeup and costume designs on Mesagog still looks impressive to this very day. They did not CGI him or use a Muppet or animatronic. He's actually wearing a monster costume head blended with his face, and it looks very creepy. But character-wise, Mesagog is an S-tier villain for sure. He is creepy, cold, calculating, a very terrible boss. He tortures his underlings for failure, and ultimately, one of the most dangerous villains in Power Rangers history. Of course, he was going on Triassic Triumph. Like why Red Rangers are the T-Rex? Because the T-Rex was the king of the dinosaurs and Red Ranger is always the leader, therefore it makes sense to combine the two. Oh hi Cat, hey just some random guy who comments. He is Kurt Connors. Yeah, Mesagog is kind of the Lizard and Green Goblin combined, mixed a little with Master Org in there, but yeah, mostly there's a lot of Spider-Man allusions in this era because Sam Raimi's Spider-Man ruled the world at one point when this show was on. Mesagog, very clearly kind of Green Goblin and especially the Lizard-esque, mostly because of his evolutionary schemes and the animal transformations, but I did get Green Goblin out of him because Anton Mercer is just Norman Osborn. He is Kurt Connors. Yeah, except without the missing arm. Mesagog is basically the Lord Zed of Dino Thunder, cunning, very intelligent, scary, and even a powerful fighter at times. Yeah, he kicked Lothor's butt, but is that really saying much? But yeah, Mesagog, he is cool, he is creepy, he's very threatening. Mesagog kind of stays in the shadows for half the series, but hey, that's practically every Power Rangers villain. He's in his evil, creepy villain castle, this evil laboratory, creating evil dinosaur-themed monsters and other gimmicks tossed in there. Mesagog is kind of in the shadows commanding, and we find out there's a reason why that is. Mesagog is actually the split personality of Anton Mercer. Yeah, Anton's down here too. I guess we should also put him up here. Anton Mercer, the good half of Mesagog, I will put onto... Ooh, should I put him on Triassic Triumph? I'll put him below Connor at least. Yeah, Anton Mercer's on here too. So at first, we're tricked into believing they're the same guy. However, it's revealed Anton Mercer and Mesagog are sort of a Jekyll and Hyde type of character. Mesagog completely splits off of Anton Mercer and his own personality. Mesagog was created in a freak accident where Anton Mercer was trying to genetically splice human and dinosaur DNA. Yeah, apparently it never came to him, it never felt like that could go horribly wrong, but yeah, Anton Mercer drank this potion and it turned him into Mesagog. At first we're led into believing they're the same guy, but it turns out, no, Anton Mercer is actually a victim in his own right. Mesagog is the puppet master, he's the split personality controlling Anton, and they're both living together because they need to share a body. It isn't until very much late in the series where they finally split apart, so we can redeem Mercer and kill off Mesagog, but Mesagog and Mercer are kind of the same guy, so I kind of compare this to Green Goblin. Anton Mercer, very much a watered down Norman Osborn, I would say. He's the mysterious CEO. He's a jerk, has a strained relationship with his son Trent, a la Harry and Norman Osborn type of relationship going on. Anton is at first an uptight jerk and very corrupt, but it turns out, no, he's actually a minion subjected to torture by Mesagog. So much better than the Amazing Spider-Man lizard. Yeah, definitely, because he didn't look like a Goomba. Which universe would be bad to live in? The Power Rangers universe or the regular show universe? What do you think? Ooh, that is hard. I might have to go with the regular show universe because there was at a point where the villain was going to erase the world, and it actually happened a few times. I'd say both. Yeah, both is good. I hope to get Anton Mercer, actor played Norman Osborn, or Gabriel Agreste. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Anton Mercer almost sounds like Alex Mercer. Pretty scary effects with Anton transforming, especially when you see the yellow eyes. Yeah, those effects are really gnarly. They're very creepy. He almost looks like he's vomiting blood at one point. It is very horrific, R-rated horror movie stuff for a Power Rangers show. Yeah, the transformations are pretty crazy, very creepy. Some sketchy CGI, particularly in the finale when we see them separate, but yeah. Anton Mercer actually is a good guy, and he's being held hostage by Mesagog. We find out he doesn't want his son Trent to become an evil villain like him. Trent is also being controlled by a split personality, the evil White Ranger form being corrupted. Trent actually goes on a redemption arc before his dad does, and he keeps it a secret that his dad is being possessed by Mesagog because he wants to fix this himself and he doesn't want help, and Trent very stupidly keeps it secret, which of course causes trust issues with the Rangers, but we'll get to that soon. Anyways, Mesagog is awesome. He is very much a no-nonsense, dead serious, creepy villain in an otherwise campy, over-the-top children's show, but that's what makes him very awesome. Much like Lord Zed and Queen Banshira and even Master Org, he is not played for laughs, which made him all the creepier. Every time he steps onto screen, the mood darkens considerably, and Dino Thunder actually does have a lot of comedy moments. It is a lighthearted show, except when Mesagog is on screen. Unfortunately, we do lead into the one thing I hate, the finale, where the finale, not bad, but a bit rushed, and Mesagog turns into his final form, the Meso Monster, which, oh boy, I am not a fan of this final form. This one I might have to put onto Beta Drone. Yeah, Mesagog gets a final form. After the Power Rangers blow up his lab, we believe Mesagog is dead and gone for good. Elsa has been cured of her evil, and Zeltrax steps in as the final boss, but dun dun dun, Mesagog survived, and he absorbed the Dino Gem power to turn into an overweight Velociraptor. So there's Dino Force and Dino Thunder. Are they both bad? Dino Thunder is actually good. Dino Charge, I believe, is the one you're thinking of, or Dino Fury, but I think Dino Fury is pretty bad, but I heard Dino Charge was actually good until the final season. Mesagog reminds me of the Allosaurus from Walking with Dinosaurs if its head was crushed. His actor has a brother and sister, Shelby Gaines and Greta Gaines. Tommy. Why do they always come back for more? Yeah, Mesagog survived, and rather than try and finish his plans, he just wants to kill the Power Rangers now because they costed him everything. He lost his final plan to terraform the planet into the Triassic period, so he comes back and turns into his final form, this very bizarre, overweight Velociraptor with the weird phallic-shaped neck. Yeah, all the fans even make fun of this. That neck of his that stretches out looks very, very suggestive. He's like flopping everywhere, and yeah, it looks very phallic, we'll put it that way. I do not like his final form, the Meso Monster. For starters, the suit looks very bulky. He's supposed to be like wearing armor and having spikes, but it just makes him look kind of fat, and he's very much awkwardly walking around. It's supposed to resemble like a dinosaur, but to me it looks like the guy who wore the suit had trouble moving around in that thing. The Meso Monster clones himself into 4 Meso Monsters. Yeah, that was as much as the effects budget could afford. He morphs into 4 Meso Monsters, and the Dino Rangers use all the power of the Dino Gems to basically Super Saiyan blast him, and that is the end of this guy. Yeah, he was much cooler and scarier in his regular form than in his final form, and that really says a lot because I think the final forms of a lot of Power Rangers are ultra cool. Like, Meso Monster does not compare to Green Trakina in her creepy Syl form, or Queen Banshira in her solid form, or Ultra Org, who was one-shotting Megazords. That was still pretty gnarly. Out of all the Power Ranger final forms, this was honestly the first to disappoint me. I'm sure I'll find another one soon, but yeah, this one, not very impressive. I thought he was way cooler in this form, his base form. The Meso Monster, not a very good final fight, and it's also pretty much rushed. The fun fact, apparently his true final form was the Zelzord, which Zeltrax is piloting. That is actual Mesagog's final form in the Sentai version of this show, and that would have been way cooler than what we got here. He played Nico in Hard Eyes. Oh, he did, okay. I think you're thinking of the Korean show Dino Force. Alright. And Bill Burke in Bridge to Terabithia. Oh, he was in that? Also, his Super Sentai is Wicked Life God Dezumoizurla. Yeah, I cannot pronounce that. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mesagog's Sentai counterpart turned into the Zelzord, which is way cooler and a much worthy final boss compared to this thing. Yeah, his final form, easily the weakest so far, but Mesagog himself, he is S tier. His final form will put on the Betatron, and Anton Mercer actually gets redeemed in the end. After he breaks free of Mesagog, Mercer is held hostage by him, but then Trent manages to save him, and Anton Mercer makes amends with everyone, apologizes for being a dick, becomes a nice guy dad towards his son Trent, and hooks up with Elsa in the end, which is kind of weird, honestly. It's kind of weird Mesagog and Elsa's human forms hook up and start dating each other. It's like, aren't you kind of traumatized by the memories of being monsters? Especially because Mesagog abused Elsa. But whatever, Anton Mercer gets a happy ending, while Mesagog and the Meso Monster both get vaporized. Still, Mesagog's a cool villain, and this monster, not the worst even on this show. Alright, so next, I guess we should talk about the one you all really want to see, Tommy Oliver, Dr. O, the Black Dino Ranger. He's also going on to Triassic Triumph. Yeah, is there really any doubt? Tommy Oliver has been making S tier on almost all these tier lists. I think the only F tier Tommy will ever get is if we ever do Turbo. Okay, so Tommy Oliver, yes, the exact Tommy Oliver from the Zordon era is back, and now he's the mentor to a new team of Power Rangers, but also gets to be his own Ranger, the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. Tommy, aren't you a little old for this? I may be old, but I can still pull it off. Yep, Tommy's back. He's the Black Dino Thunder Ranger and gets trapped in that armor for a good fraction of the season. Yeah, okay, is there really any doubt? Tommy Oliver is awesome. Tommy Oliver is a wise mentor figure, and Jason David Frank is still pretty badass after all these years. He still gets into fight scenes. He's now kind of the Zordon for his team. He's their mentor. He's their father figure. He's the one guiding the Rangers. At first, he's on the sidelines. Then he quickly gets a morpher and joins them. He gets kind of sidelined for a good fraction of the show because Jason David Frank wanted to return to the States and doesn't break out of that armor until halfway through the series. Alright, so as I said this before on my Black Rangers tier list, he's still pretty badass as a Black Ranger. He's the mentor figure. We see him kick butt. He fights the White Ranger. Easily one of Tommy's best episodes is when he finally breaks free of the armor, but he's in the coma, and we see him fight spirit versions of all his past Ranger forms. Tommy fights the Red Zeo Ranger, he fights the ghost of the Green Ranger, and the White Tiger Ranger, and all except for the Red Turbo Ranger, but it's pretty funny, even Dino Thunder wants to forget Turbo existed. Kind of made me wish more veteran Rangers became mentors in Power Rangers seasons. Yeah, me too. That should be a no-brainer. All the 90s Rangers coming back and being mentor figures. It wouldn't be until like another 20 years later where David Yost finally came back as Billy, and I believe he was the mentor on Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury or something. And we see Jason coming back all the time, but you would think one of these Rangers would stick around and be a mentor figure, but no, Tommy stayed around the longest. How did Tommy Oliver become a doctor? Yeah, that was pretty weird. He's got like his doctorate in paleontology, and don't those like take 10 years to master? And the last time we saw him, he was on Turbo as a race car driver. Kind of a lot of character development happened to him, but yeah, apparently we see how Tommy retired from being a ranger. He fought Anton Mercer. There was this freak lab accident. He killed a bunch of Tyrannodrones and jumped off an exploding island, but it turned out, no, Anton Mercer not only survived, but he became Mesagog, and Tommy is now trying to settle down in this quiet mountain town of Reefside to become a teacher, only to get roped into Power Ranger adventuring once more. And yeah, I really like Tommy. He really earned his mantle. He struggles a lot more than Zordon. The show makes it very clear he is not the typical wise mentor figure we always get in Power Ranger shows. Tommy is kind of struggling. Tommy is much more humanized as a person. He's not a perfect teacher, but he's very clearly wiser and knowledgeable on Power Rangers, so he does help his Rangers essentially grow up and become a team, because he used to be a team leader. I know everybody loves the clip show episode where he has a Power Ranger vlog on the history of Power Rangers, and somehow he was able to get intel on shows he was not a part of or shouldn't have known existed. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but you know the one. It recaps the entire Power Rangers franchise, and how did Tommy know about some of this stuff? Like, there's no way he should know what happened in Lost Galaxy because they were far away in space, in a galaxy unknown, and Lightspeed Rescue, I would assume, had most of their records secret because they were a government-funded Power Rangers, and the Time Force Rangers and Wild Force Rangers were both secrets. But no, Tommy apparently knew about these Rangers and kept in touch with all of them. Yeah, Tommy breaks out of his coma, he fights all his past counterparts, one of the coolest episodes ever, and he becomes basically a hands-on kind of teacher. He's fighting there alongside the Rangers, he's their backup, he's spearheading the charge, and he fights all the way to the finale where they finally defeat Mesagog, the Zelzord, Zeltrax, and save the day from their final attack as villains. Except for Dr. K, since she is a mentor that that's in the Power Rangers. Yeah, Dr. K, she considers herself a mentor, even though she's younger than them. With the Power Rangers verse, if you're not a Ranger, you're screwed, since you will be dealing with a bunch of mess like terroristic aliens or what have you. With the regular show verse, you could be minding your own business only for a giant flaming white wolf from space just cause two idiots played rock, paper, scissors. Power Rangers databases. Yeah, Tommy is a veteran Power Ranger by this point, so he can still pull it off. He kicks butt. Jason David Frank has a lot of funny quotes. He's very much, I'm used to this craziness by now kind of vibe. And that's what made this Tommy very likable. Tommy kicks butt, and he still apparently has the Dino Thunder Ranger powers by the time of Dimensions in Danger, where we see him return as a Dino Ranger, but apparently the Black Dino Thunder Ranger could turn invisible this whole time, and it makes you question why I never used this power in the show, but that's more bad retconning in future seasons. Tommy looked at the Power Rangers Wikipedia. Yeah, I probably did. Okay, so, of course he's gone into S tier. Tommy basically gets his groove back. He becomes a veteran ranger once more. He helps the Dino Thunder Rangers until they lose the powers. I do kind of have some problems with the Dino Thunder finale. Mainly, it suffers the exact same problems as the SPD finale. It is very rushed. There is little time to breathe these things in, and has so many subplots that not all of them got satisfying payoffs, and one of them being the end of the Dino Thunder era. They lose their powers, they lose their Megazords. This line honestly made me laugh. Like, all the Megazords heroically sacrifice themselves to destroy the Zelzord. All of the Dino Thunder Rangers, their friends, are dead, gone forever, and they spend like 2 seconds crying about it. I can't believe all the Megazords are gone. And Tommy's like, we had to do it. There was no other way. Okay, I'm over it. What? Like, that, how could that not make you laugh? That was hilarious. They just get over the fact that the Dino Megazords, you know, their friends who've been with them all throughout the show, sacrifice himself and like, I'm over it. Wow. The Megazords do not get any respect in the end of this, and they basically use up the entire powers to Super Saiyan the 4 Meso monsters, and that's it. That's the end of the Dino Thunder Power Rangers, except Tommy will be able to transform again in future crossovers, but hey, Power Rangers love their retcons. Shame Cat didn't show up, like no Pink Dino Ranger and Female Ranger. We had Kira, but yeah. Anyways, Tommy, of course, he's going into S tier. He's a classic, he's a legend, and a lot of fans love seeing him return on this show, and basically, he helped people like me get in tune with the larger Power Rangers universe. Like, I had no idea there were so many Power Ranger shows, and Tommy was actually one of these former Rangers. Dino Thunder was my intro to the larger Power Ranger universe. I was aware that there were other Power Rangers, but I had no idea it went that far. And Tommy Oliver was one from a very old show that was before my time, so I'm very thankful for this character and that episode which recapped the entire franchise because it helped me learn a lot about Power Rangers. So, of course, Tommy's going to Triassic Triumph. Jason David Frank is a legend, and his character is still very much intact here, and gets to do a whole lot more action all these years later. Tommy, you are a Triassic Triumph. Alright, so let's get another villain out of the way. Let's do Elsa. Yep, the right-hand woman of Mesagog. Might upset some people, but Elsa going on to Apex Predator. Yes, Elsa. This is Elsa, the evil femme fatale in Mesagog's inner villain circle, and secretly Principal Randall, the head of the Reefside High School, principal of the Power Rangers incognito, really a supervillainess, keeping watch over the Rangers and Tommy Oliver. Or we could add female characters. Yep, we're adding Elsa. What would be your most hated trope in media found in any Ranger series? That is pretty hard. I would definitely say useless authority figures like the old lady who doesn't believe in monsters. That really pissed me off on Goosebumps, so it pisses me off on Power Rangers. Alright, so don't worry, Akira, we're talking about the hot chick Elsa, at least the second one next to Kira, of course. Elsa is Mesagog's right-hand woman, secretly disguising herself as the high school principal, Principal Randall, to keep watch on Tommy and his Rangers, doing a pretty bad job too, because they foil their schemes every week. Miriam Smith played her. She portrays Aunt Regina on Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Okay, cool, they brought her back. She looks like a cool actress to play Madame Rouge from DC. Yeah, she probably could. So, Elsa, very much the evil, sexy Baroness type of right-hand woman. She's the evil genius who creates monsters for Mesagog, alongside Zeltrax. She's also a hyper-competent minion who goes out in the battlefield doing bigger missions and vital tasks for Mesagog, and usually she fails at every turn. Elsa is a complete failure of a minion because his schemes always end up blowing up in her face, that she fails to kill the Power Rangers, and she's always mind raped by Mesagog because she fails every time. So, I like Elsa. She's not one of my favorite henchwomen. I have seen a lot better. We'll get to Naya 7 in the future, but I really liked Vipera, Trakina, especially Astronema, who is practically the real main villain and the heavy of the show she was in. Elsa, I think she's alright. A lot of people found her hot, but I don't know, the haircut really turns me off from her. She has this weird Pachycephalosaurus type of hairdo for half the series. Then she looks like a weird Japanese schoolgirl in the second half. Very weird. If my principal was one of my arch enemies, I'd be doing flips all the time, just like the Rangers. I knew there was something I didn't like about you. Gotta admit, should have seen it coming. Yeah, no kidding, they sound the same. Yeah, Elsa's disguise is so bad, Ethan compares it to Clark Kent's Superman. Yeah, how does Elsa disguise herself? She gets this, like, stupid business suit and changes her hairstyle. She puts on, like, Clark Kent glasses, and that's it. Totally different person. She doesn't even change her voice or her attitude. She's still like a hateful bitch, even when she's Principal Randall, talks exactly the same as her villain persona and her incognito teacher persona. There was a subplot where Elsa had a crush on Tommy Oliver, and there was going to be a love triangle plan between Elsa, Zeltrax, and Tommy. Zeltrax had a crush on her, but it went nowhere, and that's kind of why I dumped it down a peg. I really wish this got explored, but no, never happened. And if you realize who Haley was originally supposed to be, kind of made worse. Elsa had a crush on Tommy. It went nowhere. It was kind of forgotten entirely. Elsa's basically there, snarking it up, being a funny hench girl, suffering humiliating defeats. Her schemes constantly fail to kill the Rangers. She usually cooks up the monsters. She bounces off of Zeltrax and the White Ranger comedically and is very much afraid of Mesagog. They hinted that she was going to become a Starscream character at one point, but in a surprise twist, it turns out Zeltrax is the Starscream of the team. Elsa set up like she would be, but never happens. And in the series finale, she's completely depowered and turned into a normal human. Yeah, it's also kind of a cop-out how she's defeated. Like, it feels like they just didn't want to kill off the hot chick character. Not gonna lie, like, they didn't want Elsa to die because she's a pretty girl, so Mesagog depowers her of her dino powers, and she turns into a regular civilian, has amnesia, and the Power Rangers rescue her from Zeltrax's wrath and ask her questions on how to defeat Mesagog, and that's kind of it. She's quote-unquote redeemed, but she really doesn't remember being Elsa. She's like given amnesia and like basically starts a clean slate as this new nice good girl, and she begins dating Anton Mercer, which, as I said, feels kind of awkward because you're essentially dating the guy who was part of your abuser, but really weird. Elsa gets quote-unquote redeemed, and that's kind of the end of her story. I kind of wish they did more with this character. She has her badass moments. She is a fully capable fighter, like her fighting Kira in sexy cat fights. She is sort of an arch nemesis towards Tommy at first. I do love the fight against him fighting Principal Randall before she's exposed. Very funny stuff. You ought to do a tier Ranger villains and henchmen worst to best. That would be pretty funny. Her Japanese Super Sentai counterpart, Apostle of Destruction, Jean. Was it Genie or something like that? Like her outfit is like Genie from Bayonetta. Okay, that version of her. Does she have a monster form? No, she does not, because in a twist, she's actually a human. She's a human who was spliced with dinosaur DNA, which sort of explains some things, but also kind of questions how she isn't just a girl version of Mesagog. I guess he gave her like a more concentrated, smaller dose. Elsa from Dino Thunder is better than Frozen Zelda. Yeah. Elsa. Elsa, yeah, she definitely is. Still remember the fight scene between her and Tommy, and it was believed it was for a card. Yeah, they fight over a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Principal, why are you kicking me? Yeah, okay, so her being the Principal Incognito is pretty funny, but it again, kind of goes nowhere. It ends with the twist that we've been with the villain this whole time, and, you know, Tommy and Ethan making fun of how they should have seen it coming kind of made things worse in my eyes, because, yeah, you really should have. Yeah, Elsa is exposed, and I'm not sure what she's gonna do now. Is she gonna be like a good principal or a good teacher or something? We know she's hooking up with Anton Mercer, so she got her happy ending. Yeah, Elsa and Anton hook up at the end now that they're both good and no longer evil, and that's kind of the end of Elsa's arc. My problem is I really wish they did more with this villainess, and as I said, the finale kind of rushed. It felt like they didn't want to kill her off or have her cross over the line into irredeemable like Zeltrax, and that's kind of it. Elsa is not one of my favorite hench girls, but I will put her on Apex Predator because she had her funny moments and had her cool moments, and of course, people love a girl in hot, tight leather having a sexy cat fight with the best Yellow Ranger ever, Kira. So we'll put her on Apex Predator. She is fine. Alright, let's get some one-shot monsters out of the way. I think this is that shark monster. Yeah, I think this is the shark monster. We'll put him on to Cassidy Clueless. Oh, Tommy, you have a really bad experiences with shark monsters. This is... hang on, I got a list right here. Yeah, Megalodor. Yeah, Megalodor, I believe. He's an evil shark who tries to abduct this bitchy diva actress from a Baywatch show because Mesagog thinks her DNA will help make his monsters tougher. And basically that's it. He's a shark monster, a lot of water fights, and Tommy has some really bad experiences with shark men, so we'll put him on to Cassidy Clueless. I believe these two monsters are also the same monsters. These guys were like cannon fodder monsters. We'll put them on Dino Dung. Speaking of which, Ka-ching from the translation episode. Yes, he actually made it on here, and we're also putting on the Dino Dung. Yeah, you remember Ka-ching? He doesn't even fight the Power Rangers. He fights the fictionalized Japanese show version of the Power Rangers, which is a Super Sentai episode. He's this weird mushroom teddy bear with these big bulging eyes, and even Connor makes fun of how he looks like a guy in a bad rubber suit. The Lost in Translation episode is very much a goofy meta episode where, I kid you not, the Dino Thunder Rangers sit down for a half hour watching a Sentai Power Rangers episode. Ah, yes, that monster. Bit scary concept, turning humans into a monster. The Meg. Shut up, Meg. Trinoid and Sharkumagurite, Super Sentai counterpart in Abba Ranger. Yeah, I remember Ka-ching, he gave everyone mushroom haircuts and it made them greedy. Lame. Going into Dino Dung. Where is he? Looking for the golden boy. Yeah, here he is. Zeltrax's son. Goldenrod. This one we actually might put onto Beta Drone. I believe this is Zeltrax's son. Zeltrax tried to fix himself, and he ended up making a monster version who's a gold version of Zeltrax, and he's kind of his foster child. He's a son of Zeltrax, his golden boy, Goldenrod. Goldenrod is tasked with eliminating the Power Rangers, and Tommy ends up killing him, and it gives Zeltrax another reason to despise the Black Ranger. This one almost kind of touching. They do give a sob story for Zeltrax, and hint that he does have a tragic side to him through this character especially. This monster is kind of like Zeltrax's son, but he, of course, ends up getting blown apart by the Power Rangers, specifically Tommy, and it's foreshadowing the rivalry Zeltrax and Tommy have. Yeah, Goldenrod was a unique monster. He kind of was. I hate how they redeem Elsa, but they didn't redeem Poisandra when her Sentai counterpart became the future Ranger's advisor and protector of the Earth over time. Where is Poisandra anyways? Yeah, they broke the fourth wall. Kind of leaned on the fourth wall, Akira. Yeah, Goldenrod. Weighed 2980 tons. Okay, so I do have a list. where was he? The Mad Mackerel. This one I'm putting onto Dino Dung. I did not like the Mad Mackerel World episode. This was easily the worst episode of Power Rangers. I think the Mad Mackerel is one of the weirdest monsters ever from a very weird episode. So, you ever notice Power Rangers likes to do a random weird-ass comedy episode? Well, the Mackerel World one, easily the number one worst one. Kira and Devin get internships on this TV show. They're working on like this kid show, kind of like a Blues Clues and Wiggles type of show, and Elsa has her dumbest plan yet. She kidnaps one of the stars of the show, the Mad Mackerel, and turns him into a monster. He's this weird fishman monster, and it's a weird episode. It is a really weird episode. It's like one of those WTF am I watching type of experiences. James Galen played him. Yeah. Okay. The Mad Mackerel, I did not like this episode. It was out there even by Power Ranger standards, and basically they save the actor. He like shrinks his douchey boss, and the douchey boss learns to become nicer and that he took his friend for granted. The Mad Mackerel is actually an actor in a rubber suit. The Rangers defeat him and cure him of his evil, and he and the child star both become besties again and do this weird gay dance. It is very, very peculiar. The actor in the popular children's TV show Funky Fisherman Show. Yeah, that's it. The Mackerel Monster, very bad. Top 10 worst Power Rangers twist, tropes, episodes, and plot lines. Might be easier to make a worst episodes list. Walter Benaziac did a pretty good job listing the worst Power Ranger episodes from the Zordon era, mostly. He hasn't come back and done the after Zordon era. He stops at In Space. Cameron Rhodes played him. I just saw the Meta Sentai Power Rangers you mentioned and lost my brain cells upon seeing it. Hey, Gray Hopper. Yeah, Lost in Translation, very weird episode. They kind of just wanted to do a meta episode, which I think hardcore fans are going to be the only ones to get, because if you don't know, Power Rangers is actually a show in Japan called the Super Sentai or Aba Ranger. They've changed the title many times, but yeah, we in America take the footage from the show and turned it into Power Rangers. And they kind of did a parody of that. Hi, Gray Hopper. But yeah, Mad Mackerel might be the worst monster, but then I remember Lothor's on here. Speaking of which, let's also get the Dream Monster out of the way. Sorry, just kind of glossing over, making sure I have the right guy. I think this is that weird crocodile monster that had a crush on the Yellow Ranger in her dreams. Yeah, also going on to Dino Dung. Yeah, remember the Power Rangers fought a nightmare monster? Elsa tried to kill the Power Rangers in their dreams with dream monsters, and each of the Power Rangers has a different dream where this monster turns into their nightmares from what they experienced in that day. And the crocodile one was easily one of the worst one. It's basically all the unused Sentai monsters being used in this footage, and the crocodile one gets special mention because he has this weird crush on Kira, and he's constantly rubbing his crocodile snout very phallically. It's like, are they doing what I think they're doing with this monster? The Yellow Ranger, she's so pretty, and he's like rubbing his crocodile snout, which is much low on his torso, and it's very, very weird. Weren't there like 4 dream monsters? Yeah, there are. I love meta, lol. Top 10 or 20, what were they thinking moments or worst twists from Power Rangers? You gotta mention the Christmas episode where Santa's magic blocks out the morphing grid. Gooner Dial. Yeah, Crocodile. Yeah, he had like a crush on Kira, which I don't blame him. Kira's pretty hot, but Kira is like hiding behind the boys to save her, which feels very out of character for Kira. Yeah, they kill the dream monster and she says no means no and beats his ass. Really weird one. Yeah, I have all the dream monsters on here. I guess I should also get the others. Yeah, sorry, trying to remember. The monkey monster from Ethan's dream. This one was weird also. I'll put on Cassidy Clueless. It's kind of funny because Ethan has a nightmare about monkeys, and this monster is this weird monkey ghoul looking thing. It is peculiar. The dream episode's also very weird, but kind of a funny weird. Yeah, Ethan has a nightmare about monkeys, and basically they shove this monkey back in the barrel. Also, Bad Elf. Or, no, Rude Elf. That was his name. The weird Santa Claus monster, also going on Dino Dung. They have an out-of-nowhere Christmas-themed monster in Connor's dreams. Connor's mom likes to force him to do Christmas shopping early, and apparently that's enough to give him nightmare trauma, because his monster turns into an evil reindeer elf monster who makes it snow, and Connor fights in a snow globe. It is a god-awful effect, but hey, that's the Sentai footage in a nutshell. Also very weird. Oh, T makes sense. That's a new Sonic show coming. Yeah, there was the monkey from Ethan and the Christmas one from Connor. There's also a squid one, I believe, from Tommy's nightmare. Where is he? They have several squid monsters, so it might be kind of hard for me to tell. I think it was this guy. Yeah, the squid monster. We'll put this one on Cassidy Clueless, at least, because Tommy's dream was easily the one that had the most tension, because he actually took his monster seriously. Yeah, the dream monster episode kind of crammed in a bunch of unused Sentai footage and all the monsters they couldn't get to, because, spoilers, Dino Thunder is a much shorter season than most Power Ranger shows. This started downgrading from 40 episodes to 36 to 38, and I believe this one had at least 37 if you count the multi-parters as one. Yeah, so they kind of crammed in a bunch of unused Sentai monsters into this Dream Monsters. Tommy had one, this weird tentacle monster. Tommy's was the most straightforward, so we'll give it a point. Ethan had the monkey monster. Connor had the weird evil Santa monster, and Kira had the weird phallic crocodile monster. It was a peculiar episode, too. At least it was funny, though. You need help from the friends to escape evil Gooner Dial. It's because in Super Sentai, the yellow is being chased by him. Okay, so he's more so a predator hunting her. And they decided to turn that into a creepy stalker love story. How did he know the Yellow Ranger was a female before they met? Well, Kira's kind of got a soft female voice. Yeah, he's part crocodile, fatsia, and telephone monster. Roomba Monkey is a monkey spring herb drum monster. Yeah, they got really crazy with these transformations. Trinoid Nakusama, Super Sentai counterparts. Connor's got PTSD from Christmas shopping. Red PTSD. Why not Krampus since he is scary? Yeah, it would have been scarier if Connor fought the Krampus or something, but no, they wanted to go the funny route because of the Sentai footage. Japan has their own version of Krampus. Okay. Dino Thunder's still peak. I do think so. The Squid Rose. Yeah, that was his name. The Squid Rose. Oh, also, I think we should talk about this tree monster. I actually really liked the evil tree that Zeltrax mutated, Deadwood. Yeah, that was his name, Deadwood. This one I actually might put high up on Apex Predator because that design is awesome. He's got this ghost face looking Lovecraftian tree body. This is the super serum tree. At first, Connor and this hippie chick are at a protest. They're trying to save this tree. Zeltrax comes in, steals its super serum, and turns it into his own personal monster, Deadwood. Yeah, that is its actual name, Deadwood. Kind of hilarious. They didn't predict a show like that would come in the future, but yeah, really love this design. It looks like something out of Mystic Force, honestly. Has this creepy depressing looking skull. It looks like Ghostface, like right on its torso, and all these creepy branched tentacles. It looks like a Lovecraftian monster. I love this thing's design, and its powers essentially give Zeltrax a power-up, making him far more dangerous. A better silly monster than that was actually a threat was the Pepper Gopher monster who copies the ranger weapons. He was actually effective. Yeah, Deadwood was good as well. Love Deadwood. Trees? Trees aren't scary. Unfortunately, nobody told Viper that when she made Treeville. Yeah, Power Rangers always has a plant monster, and this time we had a tree, and I do like the tree because it looks old, creepy, and very otherworldly. That thing was pretty gruesome. I'll put it on Apex Predator. Yeah, okay, I'm looking for the copycat gopher. Where was he? Yeah, Copy Otter was his name. He looks like an otter, and he also copied things. Again, very, very weird show. Okay, I think this is him. This is the weird copy monster. Yeah, if I put him on Beta Drone, we'll put him under Zeltrax's son. Or no, is this the guy I'm thinking of? Kind of hard to tell. These monsters look a lot smaller in these pictures because we got faraway frames. Okay, so trees are scary. Wah. I feel bad for that old tree. I did too. Oh, he's the fourth one. Okay, this is him. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, this gotta be him. Alright, we'll put him on the Beta Drone also. We'll put him above Golden Boy. This is the Copy Otter, the copycat monster who made copies of everyone. This unfortunately includes Cassidy. He made like 8 Cassidys, but he was used by Zeltrax to make a clone of the White Dino Thunder Ranger. He makes an evil White Dino Ranger and makes evil clones of the Megazords. Really effective villain. I might actually bump him up higher next to the tree monster just for that, because his powers were deadly, and ultimately, after his death, he did serve a purpose, giving Mesagog's team their own evil White Dino Thunder clone. Mortal Kombat! Dun, 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 dun. Oh, is this him? It's the one with the green on him. Alright, whatever, we'll put him up here too, Apex Predator. This is the tree from Mortal Kombat come to walk. Yep. Okay, I like these guys. Pretty cool monster designs. Yeah, the Copy Otter made copies of everyone. That's right, they like compared him to like a weird slushy machine or something. He made a clone of the White Dino Thunder Ranger, and that was ultimately his major impact on the plot. He made all those clones of Cassidy, and we got a wacky B-plot of Devin being confused by why Cassidy has so many of her and they keep popping up everywhere. That was pretty funny. Alright, I think we should talk about a main character again. Let's talk about all your favorites, Kira, the hottest Yellow Ranger since Maya. Kira also going on to S tier, and I will put her above Connor because we all loved her. This is Kira, the sole female team member of this show, kind of like how Tori was the sole girl on Ninja Storm. Kira is originally the sole female teammate of Dino Thunder. She's our yellow Dino Thunder Ranger. Kira is basically Black Canary as a Power Ranger. She's the bad girl with the heart of gold. She's the rebel. She's outspoken. She's not afraid to be brave, to be herself, but also kind of compassionate. She's a jerk with a heart of gold, and Kira's arc is basically she's a defrosting ice queen. She lightens up, treats her friends like friends. At first, acts a bit arrogant like Connor. She believes she's a people person. She can read a person judging books by their cover, only to slowly realize that she shouldn't have been so shallow herself, and Kira also kind of matures throughout the course of the series. Kira is great, love Kira, like she should be DCEU Black Canary. Yeah, she would have been much better than the weird one for Birds of Prey. Okay, so we all love Kira. She was a lot of boys' crush. Honestly, she was not mine. I never got what boys saw in Kira. I thought other Power Ranger girls were way hotter, but that's just my personal preference. However, I won't deny Kira is an awesome character. She kicks butt. Kira wants to be a rock star. She's a punk girl musician. She does fight for what's right. She has a heart. She is focusing on her music career and gets a lot of episodes focusing on that because Kira's actress was actually a real life pop singer. Her band is actually in the show. They're her backup band whenever she's doing performances, which is pretty cute and pretty nice. Dang, Gunnar Dial buys her dinner first. Love Kira. I think I see why the Gunnar Dial was wanting her now. Yellow Ranger's so pretty. Okay, so Kira is pretty hot. She's kick-ass. She's loves music. She can sing. She's badass, and she's a kick-ass Power Ranger. Kira has the sonic scream power, which is why she's compared to Black Canary. It's very much a canary cry. Her dinosaur is the pterodactyl, I guess pteranodon now, that's what it's called. Yeah, the flying dinosaur. She's the flyer, she has wings, she can fly, she can sonic screech, she has that kick-ass motorcycle. They had those cool raptor riders that they rode. Whatever happened to those? The raptor riders they had, I had a toy of one of them, and yeah, apparently they just stopped appearing as the series went on, and they upgraded to motorcycles. Ranru, Itsuku, Super Sentai counterpart, and Abba Ranger. Kira's a great yellow. Anime Night, why? To this day, I'm still disturbed how she acted like that girly girl in the episode Leader of the Whack. Yeah, what? Why? That was kind of funny. Yeah, Leader of the Whack, also another weird comedy episode, but it's actually funny, but still kind of out there for Power Rangers, where this weird meteorite has an effect on the Rangers and the Monster of the Week, giving them the polar opposite personalities of their usual selves. Connor becomes kind of cowardly, Ethan becomes really dumb and dense, and Kira becomes girly and effeminate. She's kind of afraid of everything, kind of acting like Rarity, and the Monster of the Week goes from being a coward to being this psychopath who likes killing people. Yeah, where is that guy, the Rojo bot? Yeah, sorry I don't recognize a ton of these, but they're Monsters of the Weeks. Yeah, one of the monsters gets, like, infected and turns into, like, this complete psycho who likes killing people. Yeah, I think this is him down here. Yeah, whatever, I'll put him on to Cassidy, Clueless. Yeah, he starts out as a coward. Anyways, Kira, we all love Kira. Well, they still got that in the episode. Trent steals the two of the Zords. Oh, yeah, Connor was the smart one. I don't know, just seeing her act like girly and effeminate was just weird. It's not that weird. Tori was kind of a tomboy, but she still had her girly side. But yeah, Kira turned effeminate. What was my favorite Kira episode? I would definitely say the one where she's trying to... I do like the one where she's brainwashed into being evil. What was it called? The Stolen Bone. Sounds very porn, but yeah. She becomes brainwashed into being evil, and they manage to break her free of her brainwashing. And the one where she's trying to work on her image of being a rock star, Kira wants to find out what's hip and trendy, and she goes to this fashion designer who works in this weird warehouse, and he gives her this really goofy, outlandish, Madonna-looking outfit, and apparently girls on the street assume she's famous and want her autograph because she's dressed like a trendy rock star, and it apparently works for her. Kira is like wearing this goofy Madonna, Lady Gaga looking dress, and all the kids love her. They want to hear her sing, and she's booking performances everywhere. But the problem is, she finally talks to Connor, and Connor gives her an honest answer and tells her it's not who she is. Yeah, it's not her. And I really like that because Kira was actually touched by that, and it's the first time we see Kira and Connor showing respect for each other, where Kira realizes this isn't her. She wants to be liked for being herself, and not for being what's popular, essentially. The Yellow Rangers are blonde. Why are Yellow Rangers blonde? Because blonde is yellow. Yeah, simple answer, Akira. Oh, it's called the missing bone. The stolen what? I swear it was called the stolen bone. Guess Kira is a beautiful rose with thorn. Connor was funny as the smart guy, yeah. I remember Ethan being stupid in that. Not in Mystic Force, we had a redhead. Connor, my goat. Yeah, Connor's up here next to Kira. So, Kira is pretty awesome. She's easily the most developed of all the characters. One, all the boys had crushes on her, and two, all the girls kind of looked up to her. She was a kick-ass girl. She was cool, she was radical, she loved music, her actress could actually sing, she got a lot of badass weapons too, she was the Pteranodon, so she got a lot of cool flying weapons, and as we know, Kira actually came back in crossovers. She was in SPD, her music career took off, she's now a singing sensation in the future. Despite SPD's crossover being disappointing, she still kicked butt in that, and she came back in Once a Ranger as one of the veteran Rangers, and was so good she actually made Operation Overdrive watchable. Yeah, I think Kira's pretty cool. Not my all-time favorite Yellow, you all know I prefer Maya. Maya's my Yellow Ranger, but Kira's not a bad character. Kira's one of the most developed cast members. She's got a lot going on for her. Some of the best episodes in the series focus on her. Usually it's her or Tommy who are the two MVPs of this Ranger team. So of course Kira's going up top in Triassic Triumph. Redheads and smart girls, lol. Hey, Kendrix was blonde and she was a smart girl. Like, Kira's actress quit her singing in her problem with SA on 2005. Does SA mean what I think it means, Akira? The terminology is kind of weird, but yeah. Kira, very sad Kira's actress has also kind of resented the show, namely because she says she's dealt with obnoxious fanboys and hates that everybody keeps calling her Kira. It's like her most famous role, and she's kind of upset because she has had this huge career and has starred in other things, and all people remember for her is being the Yellow Power Ranger. And yeah, the actress pseudo-distanced herself from that. She doesn't hate Dino Thunder, but she wants people to recognize her for her other achievements, and we do see she does still respect the fans. She did do that tribute for Jason David Frank after his tragic suicide, so clearly not a ton of bad memories for Dino Thunder, but yeah, her actress kind of wants to move on and do other things in her life. I think Connor was the GOAT. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, Connor was awesome, but I think Tommy, Mesagog, and Kira definitely outclassed him. So, Kira gone into Triassic Triumph, she's still a legendary character, so legendary that she came back in Once a Ranger, fighting alongside Tori, Adam, and Bridge, so you know Kira had to be famous to stand along the legendary Rangers, so she is an S-tier character. Alright, the weird beetle guy, I'm trying to remember who this is. I got like a list of people down here. Oh, this is the beetle magnet guy. Yeah, there's his magnet hands. Yeah, the weird beetle magnet dude. This one also got on to Clueless Cassidy. He had that power that caused them like switch their personas, I believe in Leader of the Whack. That is kind of a useless power if you ask me. Gonna change people in the polar opposite of what you are. Lame. Going on to Clueless Cassidy. The centipede monster. This guy that broke their Megazords. This one going on to Beta Drone. Had a really cool design, but was basically generic monster of the week. I like how this monster is shaped. Looks like a weird human centipede. He like broke their Megazords or something. Then they tried to rebuild their Megazords, but evil White Ranger killed this guy. I think we should also take out the Ruby Dragon, aka Discount Slifer, the Sky Dragon. Might put him on to Beta Drone. This is the famous Ruby Dragon. If you don't know, Ethan and Devin are playing not Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and Elsa confiscates his card, and this includes a legendary Egyptian god card, the Ruby Dragon, who is clearly a watered-down version of Slifer the Sky Dragon from the classic Yu-Gi-Oh era. The Ruby Dragon is a Yu-Gi-Oh card turned into an ultimate legendary type monster for Mesagog's forces in, I believe, the penultimate episode arc where, yeah, basically they use this card and it's how they find out Elsa is really the principal and Anton Mercer is Mesagog because the card they took turns into their monster of the week and the Ruby Dragon is very OP and powerful. I love Overdrive, honestly. Grey Hopper, you need to respect yourself more. Yes, still no YouTube channel. Actually, Ruby Dragon is the first of the second row, and yeah, he was an interesting monster. Oh, is this the Ruby Dragon? Oh, no. First of the second row. Okay. Yeah, I'll put him up here then, anyway. Alright, we'll put both up here on Beta Drones. Either way, really cool monster. I thought this was the Ruby Dragon because he's all red, but yeah. You remember, that monster, basically a Yu-Gi-Oh monster, turned into a Mega Boss for the Power Rangers. Very interesting that if Elsa can turn Yu-Gi-Oh cards into monsters, why can't they just, go out and buy, a whole bunch of decks and use them to mass create a whole bunch of Ranger foes? That would definitely save you on trying to cook up new ideas. When are we going to talk about the Blue Ranger and almost become Miles Morales Ethan? We'll talk about him after. Hey, stop being mean to Ruby Dragon, he's my dumb boy. Bruce Hopkins is his actor, Trinoid. One Dragondron, Super Sentai counterpart. I bet if it was Obelisk, the Rangers would have somehow lost to it. Yeah, Obelisk, the Tormentor, or Ra are more powerful. They scale back Slifer the Sky Dragon's powers on this. He's now just a humanoid dragon guy in a monster suit, and his power is not as lethal and deadly as that Sky Dragon who dominated the sky and turned it black. Obelisk the Tormentor and Ra are way better monsters anyway. Maybe they don't want to get sued by Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, in the context of the Power Rangers show, this is a not Yu-Gi-Oh! Style card game. It's very clearly Yu-Gi-Oh! But they call it something else, and it kind of makes you question, why not just take a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon cards and turn them into your monsters of the week? That would save you on so many ideas, and Elsa would not have to fear for her life of getting mind raped by Mesagog. Just saying. Also... Alright, let's talk about the Blue Ranger. Let's talk about Ethan. Ethan, the Blue Dino Ranger, the Triceratops. Ethan might upset people. I'm putting him onto Apex Predator. So, my thoughts on Ethan from the Blue Ranger tier list have not changed. Ethan is not a bad character, but very clearly outclassed and overshadowed by some legendary types. Ethan is the Blue Dino Thunder Ranger. He's the nerd, really a remodernized version of Billy. Yeah, Ethan is pretty much just Billy without the shy side. Ethan is the nerd guy. He's into video games. They give him a personality at first. He's kind of a prankster. He gets detention because he auto-timed the sprinklers to spray the kids when they were playing on the grass, and big shock, he got caught in the act by Elsa, so he's roped in alongside Connor and Kira. Ethan, very much kind of an insufferable know-it-all at first. He's the nerd, he knows better, he talks like he's smarter and better than the others just because he gets good grades, and he kind of undergoes a similar arc to Connor. He's humbled by his experiences as a ranger. He matures, he grows up, he stops looking down on people. Ethan starts standing up for himself. He's into video games, and this is why I kind of felt a bit iffy on him. They treat him like a nerd because, oh, he plays Warcraft and Yu-Gi-Oh! And they act like that's such a loser hobby when really, that sounds kind of stupid, especially coming on a show which aired alongside children properties. But yeah. There are better Blue Rangers as a character. Ethan is fine. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about him. I like Ethan, but he's not one of my favorites. He was never my favorite even back then as a kitten. I always kind of like Connor and Tommy a lot more. Ethan was kind of there. I'm sad to say he's the neglected ranger this season. They don't give him too much to do. He's always in the funny episodes. I think a bully for Ethan is one of his better ones because he stands up for himself against the bully, but when they're challenged to a fight, Ethan actually makes peace with him. He shows him how to do a better soccer move, and we find out the bully was mean to Ethan because Ethan kind of instigated first, and they do shine a light that Ethan did kind of come across as a jerk who blew him off as a dumb jock, and that kind of escalated things, so Ethan was partially in the wrong, but he and the bully make amends and actually become friends, and then they never see each other ever again because it was a one-shot episode. Yeah, I really got sick of those and Power Rangers binge-watching these, I tell you what. Love Ethan. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't scale. Well, they do in the show for the sake of tension. Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't as Sue-happy as Pokemon. Yeah, because apparently Yu-Gi-Oh! Is free on YouTube. Yeah, Power Rangers and classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Are up on YouTube. I haven't seen the GX episodes, but the Yu-Gi-Moto G1 era, they're actually posting episodes straight onto YouTube, so if you want to relive the days of Pegasus and Merrick and whatever else, the Dungeon Dice monsters, they're on there. Actually, Dino Thunder are stronger in power scaling. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't scale. Sorry, catch up on comments. Yeah, there are definitely better Blue Rangers out there. People love Ethan. I know Ethan's not a bad character. He has his moments. He's kind of funny, but honestly, I didn't get too attached to him. Out of all the Rangers, I think Connor and Kira had the most character progression, and Tommy Oliver, of course, he's a veteran Ranger. He's way cooler, and Trent had basically the most focus. Trent got a lot of screen time, and unfortunately, all of these Rangers kind of overshadowed Ethan, which is my big problem. Ethan got less and less to do as the show went on. He kind of dated Cassidy, and that happened for 2 to 3 episodes, and they broke up because they both have their own lives. I did not like how they treat Ethan like he's a loser because he plays video games. It's you are aware you're playing this show for kids, and who's gonna be playing video games none other than kids? But yeah, whatever. He is the Max Kante of Dino Thunder. Yeah, he kind of is. In the Sentai, the monster are made of plants, animals, and junk. Here, they're kind of... They do have plant monsters in here, but they have, technology. Ollie is the better know-it-all. Alright, I owned Ethan as an action figure, and I still remember how complex the figure was on how you can pose them. I do like his flying motorcycle. Yeah, he did get the power-up. All the Rangers got their own unique individual weapons, and Connor got a battleizer, Kira got her flying machine, and Ethan got a motorcycle which could turn into a flying cycle, very similar to Cole's from Wild Force, but that was pretty cool. He did have cool weapons, but all the Dino Thunder Rangers had cool, unique weapons to call their own. I think Ethan is fine, but he does not get as compelling a character arc as all the other Rangers. He's more so the new generation's Billy. He's the nerd boy, he's the tech guy, he's into gaming, he's into Yu-Gi-Oh!, he's into pop culture, he bounces off of Connor very well, and I do like how basically he stops looking down on everyone, kind of lightens up, starts having fun. One of his funnier episodes is when he's cursed by the Egyptian monster, Tuttenhawken. That was a funny one. Wow, got a lot of comments. Ethan, the name Ethan is of Hebrew origin derived from the word Eitan, which means strong, firm, or enduring. Okay, that makes sense. His meaning resonates through biblical narratives where strength and steadfastness are often highlighted as virtues of character. Yeah, sometimes Power Rangers did that often, having some symbolism through their names. pretty much his best episode was against Tuttenhawk, and yeah, the Egyptian, like, bird monster and his curse, which is a much better curse episode than Operation Overdrive because it was taken seriously. Yeah, let's do Tuttenhawken. Okay. That weird Egyptian bird monster. Yeah, I think this is him right here, but it also looks like the pollinator. Okay, while I look for him, I guess we could also knock off the minions, the Tyrannodrones. These ones, going on to Beta Drone. Yeah, the Tyrannodrones were not one of my favorite henchmen, mostly because they're kind of forgettable. They are actually remodified Stingwinger costumes, but they replace the insect appendages with weird cells and rock looking things. They have like stalactites on their faces. They're weird looking rock monsters. The Tyrannodrones were apparently invented by Tommy Oliver and Anton Mercer together. I'm not sure why, but I guess they were test subjects on that splicing human and dino DNA kind of experiments they were doing. The Tyrannodrones, honestly, I kind of forgot that these were the primary henchmen. I found them kind of forgettable. They're these weird, snarling, kind of prototype dinosaur-looking experiments. I know some people actually do like them, but the fact that they are remodified Stingwingers definitely reeks of cheapness, and their designs just didn't really do anything for me. Yeah, the Tyrannodrones and the tripods didn't do much for me. Yeah, I fully agree. Hey, that episode was funny. I will not let that Max slander slide. Operation Overdrive Defender in the house. Yeah, except Kira never gave away the power-up. The combination of Ethan and James forms are a harmonious blend of strength and legacy. Stingwingers are better. Oh yeah, for sure. Stingwingers became suicide bombers. That was pretty cool. Stingwingers were like my first S-tier henchmen. I love the Stingwingers and the Quantrons. If you can't tell, they took the Stingwinger outfits and just gave them a makeover. Now they look like weird rock monsters. I do like their snarling, but they're pretty much cannon fodder. They're expendable goons. They did not do too much for me. The same with the Triptoids. Here they are. The Triptoids actually feel like revamped Putty Patrol monsters. They're also going on to Betatron. We'll put them under the Ruby Dragon at least, because not a big fan of these ones. I thought they were kind of a step down from the Tyrannodrones, honestly. Basically, these are a new generation's Stingwingers, then a new generation's Putty Patrol. Yeah, these are remodified putties. They're black and white ninja monsters with weird rock parts attached to them. Lame. They are generic. They're just expendable idiots. Love how they gave the Stingwingers personality. Yeah, they were a lot funnier. Stingwingers are cuter. Yeah, Stingwingers, Quantrons, and Cyclobots, they are the elite henchmen of Power Rangers. Really like them. No disrespect to the putties, but I do think they were definitely outclassed as the series went on. Yeah, anyways, the tripods, not a huge fan of. They just look a lot generic, and the fact that they tried to repeat the putty sound effects, the that kind of weird monster effect, just kind of felt painful that they were trying to rehash this monster. And then they made them put on a t-shirt bomber. Yeah, Stingwingers are awesome. Yeah, the henchmen did not do much for me. They're not the worst ones. I do believe the Quantrons are still the superior henchmen, and the Stingwingers definitely in the finale became S tier for me. Cyclobots were also iconic because of their silly walk, but the Tyrannodrones and the Tripoids, they were nothing. They were just expendable idiots, and the fact that they're brought back for the SPD crossover did not lay any impression on my memory. Yeah, they're going on a Betatron. I've seen worse, but definitely weak henchmen. Okay, sorry, just trying to recognize a few of these guys. Let's do, I think this is the Pollinator, like the weird electric squid. Yeah, we'll put him on to Clueless Cassidy. Not a big fan of this monster, so I just want to knock out some of these one-shot characters. Also, I think this is the bird brain, the weird, the bird brain monster. Also put on to Cassidy Clueless. Yeah, sorry guys, got a lot of one-shot monsters. Want to clear these guys off the board because not too much to say on them. Where's that weird guy with the anchor? I think this is Tuttenhaken. Is this him? I think we finally found him. Yeah, Tuttenhaken. We actually might put on to Apex Predator because of how funny he was. Yeah, remember the episode Tuttenhaken's Curse where a rare Egyptian monster breaks free from this museum. The kids go to a museum exhibit and Ethan accidentally gets cursed and Tuttenhaken is unleashed. Tuttenhaken has a crush on Cassidy and becomes her simp manservant, doing things for her, offering her jewelry, and I find it kind of funny that Cassidy and Devin are not at all frightened that a Power Ranger monster is interacting with them. Cassidy decides to take him as a servant. Third one on the second is Tuttenhaken. Oh, okay, this is him. Okay. Sorry, he has those weird elephant ears, and these two kind of look the same. Alright, we'll put him on also on Apex Predator. Tuttenhaken, yeah, that was a pretty funny episode. He wants Cassidy to be his queen, and it's very funny. I'm subscribing. Okay, thank you, Greyhopper. Stingwingers had personality, and they made the Suicide Bombers like love Lost Galaxy so mean-spirited. Well, Lost Galaxy went hardcore. That's why I really like it. So, sorry, a bit hard to identify the monsters of the week, but Tuttenhaken was one that really stood out. Tuttenhaken's this funny Egyptian monster. He serves Cassidy, but then he starts treating Devin like crap, and this is what turns Cassidy against him, and we find out he wants to kill the Power Rangers, where Ethan fights the monster and has to break his curse, and of course he does. Ethan gets unjinxed, and Cassidy actually undergoes some character development in this episode. Cassidy is full-blown alpha bitch in this episode, acting shallow, acting vain, being a bitch to everyone, including Ethan, and Ethan actually showed that he did cherish their friendship together. Cassidy sees the error of her ways and apologizes for being a bitch. Really nice episode, honestly. Tuttenhaken, definitely a funnier monster. I'll put him up high. Alright, so I think this is the Scorpex, the weird scorpion clock monster. Yo, was this the guy who turned... No, that was the different one. Alright, I think this is Scorpex, the scorpion clock monster hybrid. It looks like him. Alright, we'll also put him onto... We'll put him onto Betatron. I liked his design and his weird powers, but overall, he was just another monster of the week cannon fodder. And where's Dicetron? There's like a monster who had like dice for hands. There he is. I think this is him. That looks like a dice on his hand. Dicetron. We'll also put him onto Betatron. He had that funny power. He was like a dungeon dice monster in Power Rangers. Oh wait, I think the first or second one is Cassidy Clueless's Pterosaur. He was a great monster. Oh, wait, I think the first or second one. Okay. Pterosaur. Okay, we'll put him up. We'll bump him up higher. We'll put him above the Tyrannotrons at least. If you like reviews of new Super Sentai episodes with Lore Weekly, then subscribe. Okay, sorry. A bit hard. I know these are one-shot monsters. Honestly, the one-shot monsters, I know people are disappointed that I don't talk enough about them, but honestly, I don't remember the one-shot monsters. I remember the ones who are super cool. Otherwise, the main villains are the ones I'm here to talk about. Speaking of which, we should also bump off the weird... I think this is the Pollinator. We'll also put on to Cassidy Clueless. Yeah, sorry, I want to get rid of these guys before we talk about the real characters who matter. I like the Dicetron monster, his weird dice eyes. I think this one is Frigida, or Phrygia, the ice comic monster. She was actually kind of cool. I'll put her on Betatron. Yeah, if you don't remember, there was a comic book come to life episode, and honestly, the true selling point of that episode was the graphic novel worker. The the graphic novel world and the graphic novel comic book artist. That episode was actually pretty cool, where they step into like this take on me kind of animation style and enter a comic book where the Rangers are chased by this comic book monster, Phrygia. She follows them out into the real world. The Rangers realize they're in a comic book, and Trent meets his favorite artist and tries to convince him to rewrite the comic book where the Rangers win. It was actually a pretty nice effects episode. So are you subscribing? Not right now because I'm doing a stream. Yeah, subscribe, Gray Hopper. Anyways, yeah, I like Phrygia, but did she really qualify as a villain? She thought the Rangers were invading her kingdom, and she followed them to the real world thinking they were trying to annex her territory. Didn't stop the Rangers from killing her anyway. We'll put her on the beta drone. Where is... I think this is Donkey Vac. Yeah, looks like him. The donkey vacuum monster. Yeah, he sucked out people's youth. This one got on to Clueless Cassidy. I did not like this episode either. The weird one where the monster is like stealing people's youth, and one of Kira's friends who became famous turned into an elderly person, and Cassidy and Devin also turned into seniors, and there's this very weird Bulk and Skull B-plot where Cassidy and Devin use their senior rights and abuse their age to get free stuff and discounts. It was a very weird episode. Yeah, the comic book episode was fun. It was. I like the animation more. The monster was whatever, though. The weird donkey vacuum monster, I was also not a fan of this episode where all the people are turning into senior citizens, and Cassidy and Devin get this funny Bulk and Skull-like subplot where they use their senior rights to get senior discounts and crap, and yeah, in typical Bulk and Skull fashion, it ends with backfiring on them and they get chased out by seniors. That was the funniest part of it, but the monster really sucked. Did not like him. Alright. Yeah, just gonna bump up. I think this is the weird anchor guy. I remember there was like a guy whose weapon was an anchor. That really sucked. I'll put him on to Cassidy Clueless. Alright, I guess we should talk about a character who matters. Let's get our last Dino Thunder Ranger out of the way, Trent. And yes, we are talking about Trent before his clone. This is Trent Fernandez, the adopted son of Anton Mercer, and as you can guess, Trent also going on to Triassic Triumph. Like, is weird why every villain are not dino-themed. Yeah, that would have made more sense if they were fighting dinosaurs, but no, they don't. They fight some weird, outlandish monster with a gimmick because of the Sentai footage. Yeah, it would have been easier to identify the dinosaur ones too, but no, we get centipedes, Slifer the Sky Dragon, and comic monsters. Very bizarre. Anyways, let's finally talk about our technically 5th Ranger, but the 6th Ranger, Trent, the White Dino Thunder Ranger. The one I know you all came to see, and my thoughts have not changed on that. Trent is one of the better characters, mostly because Trent is, funnily enough, a new generation's Tommy Oliver. Trent starts out as a anti-villain. Trent is the son of Anton Mercer, and he's trying to follow his dad, accidentally stumbles upon a portal to Mesagog's base, and he touches the White Dino Gem. However, the White Dino Gem is possessed by the spirit of an evil Power Ranger, where Trent also has a Jekyll and Hyde story arc, where the White Ranger is an evil split personality, corrupting Trent. Every time he morphs into the White Ranger, he's basically a bad guy. The White Dino Ranger is a villain for a large portion of the series. He is Felix Phantom of Dino Thunder. Well, except Trent when he's normal is much nicer. Like, is it weird why every villain are not dino-themed? I fully agree, Akira. Trent definitely had a great arc trying to deal with his evil self, whether from within or against his clone. So, Hobgoblin. Yeah, Trent is kind of the Harry Osborn to Anton Mercer's Norman Osborn. He is a solo villain for a large fraction of the series, and basically it's kind of the Green with Evil Power Ranger arc for a new generation. Exactly like Tommy Oliver, Trent is an evil Power Ranger, working solo at first, then he gets blackmailed into serving the villains. The White Ranger wants to take over the world for himself, and considers Mesagog and his team a complete band of losers, which I find absolutely hilarious. He wants to take over the world for himself, actually succeeds at stealing some Megazords. He gets his own Zord, he corrupts some of the evil Dino Zords. However, Anton Mercer actually is the first to snap him out of his evil mode, where he tells him that he's not really Mesagog. Mesagog is his split personality, and he and his father are suffering the same thing. A Jekyll and Hyde scenario where Trent is struggling with his inner self. The White Ranger is corrupting Trent. It's implied the White Ranger is a completely separate entity. He's possessing Trent, turning him evil, and Trent is losing his mind, giving into the evil White Ranger identity. However, he starts fighting him, and there are hints that Trent actually is a good guy deep down. He has his romance with Kira. We do see he can be cool with Connor and Ethan, and especially Tommy. Tommy relates with him because this has happened to Tommy before, back on Mighty Morphin. He was also a former evil Power Ranger. He tries to save him. The White Ranger actually freezes Tommy Oliver and Carbonite briefly. Which actually did kind of scare me as a kitten. I remember seeing this episode where it turns out Trent, nope, he betrays Tommy and throws him in like Dino Carbonite. Yeah, he's like the Hobgoblin. I do like Trent. He eventually gets broken free of his evil split personality. Then the copycat monster down here makes a copy of his Dino Gem and his powers, leading to the creation of the White Ranger clone. We'll get to him after, but yeah. Trent basically becomes a full-blown good guy, but still a bit morally gray. He knows Anton Mercer is a Mesagog, but keeps it secret all the way up to the finale, where Anton Mercer is exposed as being Mesagog, and the Rangers are pissed, leading to trust issues, and Trent proves himself, proves that he still cares about the Rangers and is a part of the team, helps them win, and he reveals he kept it secret because he doesn't want them to kill his dad. They want a cure. So they finally work together. They release Mesagog is the one who cures himself. He releases himself from Anton Mercer because Anton keeps protecting Trent, making Mesagog lose control over their body. So Mesagog dumps him. Trent goes in, saves his dad Anton from the castle being destroyed, and he is a part of the final battle where they kill Zeltrax, the Zelzord, and the Meso monster in the finale. Apparently he can use his powers to help in that Super Saiyan blast, which killed Meso Monster for good, but yeah. Trent, best evil dino daddy. So why Super Sentai called him Abra Killer? Because in the Sentai, the White Dino Ranger was actually a villain all the way up to the end. Yeah, the White Dino Thunder Ranger actually was evil all the way to the end, and he pulls a redemption arc in the finale, but he dies. Yeah, the White Dino Thunder Ranger died and had his redemption literally at death's door. He turns good in the end, helps them defeat their Mesagog, and he ends up being killed off for real. But they didn't want to do this with Trent because Dino Thunder is a kid show and they didn't want to graphically murder him. Yeah, his Sentai counterpart is dead, and which makes it kind of weirder because it means Trent isn't going to come back in a lot of crossovers, but he actually did. He shows up in the second SPD crossover. They finally got the fan complaints that where the white and black Dino Rangers were. Yeah, Tommy and Trent finally reappear together. He gets his memory blanked by the Neuralizer. And Trent actually came back in Dimensions in Danger. I had to pause to see if it was him or not, but yeah, he came back and was basically part of a group shot, and I don't recall him ever getting a single line of dialogue, which really disappointed me because you think Trent would get a lot more focus, especially because they brought him back after years. But yeah, he's in the Dimensions in Danger crossover, looking cool, doing action poses, and you have to really squint to see him. Abare crash out. Trent's Sentai version wasn't peak enough to survive. No, he was not. Which he didn't show up in Beast Morphers, most likely because they don't have Sentai footage of the White Dino Ranger, because in Japan the White Dino Ranger is dead, so it meant Trent would not be reappearing a lot. Yeah, I really wish Trent would reappear. I do like him. He's kind of the Harry Osborn to Anton Mercer's Norman Osborn. This is one of the best Evil Ranger arcs ever, so of course it's going on to Triassic Triumph, and really like that Trent turned good. The one negative I do have is that we never get confirmation if he and Kira became an item. Trent wanted to be a graphic novel artist. He wanted to write his own comics, write his own stories, be an artist. He is good at drawing. One of his drawings got turned into a monster. He helped the comic book artist break his friends free. And Anton Mercer is at first against it, but after he's free of Mesagog, he becomes a total supportive dad, and I believe Trent succeeded in his career. He is working with that graphic novel guy at the end of the episode, so yeah, Trent became an artist like he always wanted, but no word if he and Kira ever hooked up. Love Evil Rangers. Oh, you do, Greyhopper? Evil Rangers are usually hit and miss for me, mostly because they always try to copy Tommy Oliver. That's my only problem. So, Nathaniel from Miraculous? Kind of. I would say he's more so Harry Osborn. Sorry, I got my water here to stay hydrated, but Trent I do like. We'll put him on Triassic Triumph. Easily one of the best White Rangers we've ever had. You know, next to Tommy Oliver. Okay, let's knock off some lesser monsters. I'm gonna skim through some of these guys. We'll put you on Beta Drone. Okay, read the Centipede monster already. Where's that weird Cyclops guy? Yeah, I think this is him. Yeah, we'll put you on Clueless Cassidy. Rubbed through these guys. Put you on Beta Drone. Another shark looking. Oh, this is the evil White Ranger monster. Now I recognize him. Yeah, we'll put you. I might put you on High Beta Drone because I do like it. They made two of these guys. Yeah, basically they took the White Dino Gem to make the White Ranger's Megazord into a monster, and basically it was cannon fodder. That's really all it was cannon fodder. What about the Psycho Rangers? Yeah, I love the Psycho Rangers, but do they really count as evil Rangers? I would think evil Rangers who got redeemed because the father is Anton Season 6. Yeah, I remember these two. These are the evil White Dragon Zord monsters. Yeah, the White Ranger got his own Megazord for evil, and Mesagog turned the clones into, like, their own monsters. Basically just cannon fodder, no personality whatsoever. Evil Corn Cyclops guy gone on to Cassidy Clueless. I think this is the Pollinator guy. Yeah, also gonna put you on Cassidy Clueless. Power Rangers clones. Power Ranger clone saga. Don't give them ideas. Almost recognize this one. I think we'll put you on Beta Drone. I do like this little design here. And I think this is the Anchor guy. I'll put you on to Cassidy Clueless as well. Alright, got rid of all the one-shot monsters. Alright, let's talk about... let's want to do Cassidy and Devin. Okay. Both Cassidy and Devin I will be putting onto Apex Predator, but I'm putting them under the Deadwood monster. Yep, we'll finally talk about your comic relief, Cassidy and Devin, the new generation's Bulk and Skull. You know, I might actually put Devin above Cassidy at least because he was likable. Okay, so Cassidy and Devin are basically two dorky, bumbling cool kids who want to become reporters. Devin is basically her pet simp, kind of the Charlie to her Jill. Cassidy wants to be a famous reporter, a journalist, and her attempts always include trying to get the scoop on the Power Rangers. She wants to capture the identity of the Power Rangers because it could mean her big break in news media. I wish we get 5 good versus 5 evil Rangers again. Kinda did with the Ninja Storm crossover, but not by much. Okay, so finally talking about Cassidy and Devin. They are a new generation's Bulk and Skull. If you don't remember, Bulk and Skull were the goofball idiot bullies who tried being cool, then they tried being Power Ranger fanboys and tried being heroes on their own, only to constantly screw up, fool around, get in trouble, or be hilariously humiliated every time. That is the exact same thing with Cassidy and Devin. They try to get the scoop on the Power Rangers, try to catch monster fights on film, try to be big-time reporters, only to hilariously fail, fumble, and get humiliated every time. Cassidy, I'm putting below Devin, because Devin was at least chill. We see Devin actually is friends with the Ranger group. He's nice to Ethan and nice to Connor. They play Yu-Gi-Oh! Together. He's actually the nicer of the two guys, which is why I like Devin a lot more. Allegedly, Devin and Cassidy were supposed to become Power Rangers. Cassidy was going to become the pink Dino Thunder Ranger, and Devin was going to be the 6th Ranger of their team. However, those plans never came through. They found out that the 6th Ranger was actually a new Battleizer upgrade for the Red Ranger, so that ended up going to Connor, and a lot of Devin's character arc kind of got scrapped. Cassidy was going to become a pink Dino Ranger at one point, but apparently there wasn't any footage to use, so never used her. The evil Megazord is based on the Carnotaurus and the Chasmosaurus. They were the real main characters of the Zordon era. Yeah, Bulk and Skull. Katrina Devine played Cassidy. Yeah, Cassidy is played by one of Lothor's nieces. Yeah, I remember they make a joke about how they look so much alike and they compliment each other and how pretty they are. Yeah, if you don't know, one of Lothor's nieces plays Cassidy because apparently the crew found her so funny that they brought her back as another comic relief character. Cassidy's kind of an arrogant, vain alpha bitch, at least at first. She treats the Dino Rangers like losers, whereas Devin's kind of chill, kind of normal, but he follows Cassidy because he kind of has to. He's her manservant, her pet simp. We find out Devin has a crush on Cassidy, but she's oblivious to his feelings until the very end where he asks her out to prom. But I'm prettier, yeah. I wish they became reoccurring characters through the Disney era like Bulk and Skull. Well, would have been kind of hard to bring them onto RPM, considering that the human race is destroyed and they're in the future now. Born in Northern Ireland. She is Nika and Xena Warrior Princess. Oh, she is, okay. The one who's bug-themed. But I'm prettier. Yeah, the Ninja Storm girl. She has like the weird insect-looking goggles, kind of like Shakina, but she's a total dork. Emery Imanka, Super Sentai counterpart, lol. But so much better than Chloe. Yeah, she is, because Cassidy and Devin actually get a redemption arc, so most of their stories are kind of the same, like Bulk and Skull. They're trying to get the scoop, trying to study the Power Rangers, trying to basically get ahead in life, only to fumble and fail every time. Cassidy basically grows nicer. Devin is very chill. He was supposed to become a Power Ranger. He gets a lot braver, shows more initiative. He's the one who actually catches the Rangers on film multiple times, only to screw up multiple times too. He drops like the camera in like a punch bowl. He taped the wrong thing, accidentally humiliates Cassidy on the air when he like taped like one of his ballet recitals or something. It would have been funnier if they survived through the apocalypse in RPM, lol. Yeah, Devin Delvale, played by Tom Hearn. So basically Devin tries to hook up with Cassidy. Cassidy is oblivious that he has feelings for her, and it isn't until the grand finale where they finally get their character arcs resolved. Cassidy catches the Dino Rangers on camera after they lose their powers, but decides not to publish the story because she doesn't want to endanger their lives, doesn't want to get them into trouble, and she realizes that this knowledge can take away everything in their lives. And Cassidy relents and decides to just praise the Dino Thunder heroes as heroes. Devin finally asks Cassidy out, and they become an official couple, dancing together at prom. Since the end of Dino Thunder, Hearn has stayed close with co-stars James Napier and continued to work with him on multiple film projects. Okay, that is pretty nice. Very glad that Devin's actor is still doing other things. I'm not sure if Cassidy's doing other things. She shows up from time to time and stuff, but Cassidy and Devin, I find them funny. They're no Bulk and Skull, but compared to all the desperate attempts to recapture Mighty Morphin, they definitely succeeded the best. These two actually do feel like a new generation's Bulk and Skull. However, they don't make it on S tier from me because I am kind of disappointed that they scrapped their arcs of becoming Power Rangers, and two, they did have a lot of unfunny moments, just like Bulk and Skull did in Zeo. Like Cassidy and Devin find a random bonker to survive through the AI uprising, just accidentally get into the RPM Dome City. Well, RPM being in a different dimension also kind of diminished a few crossover plans, but I do like Devin and Cassidy. I'll put them onto Apex Predator. Easily the best attempts at giving a new generation Bulk and Skull, and way better than Bulk and Spike, who come in a later series. So yeah, I'll put them onto Apex Predator. Nice arc, funny moments, but sometimes an equal amount of unfunny. Alright, I'm going to use the restroom, but we only got a few characters left, so cast your vote on who you want to see next. Zeltrax, Lothor, Haley, the White Dino clone, or these other one-shot characters. I'll be right back. Alright, Cat is back. Let's get Lothor out of the way. I want Lothor gone, so Devin is a comedic Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, it kind of is. They're kind of like Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane, except Lois and Jimmy were actually cool and confident. Like we see the Overdrive Red Helmet fully destroyed in one episode. Yeah, Tenaya 7 tossed it away in the trash where it belongs. Alright, let's do it. Lothor. From the crossover Thunderstorm, the Dino Rangers meet the Ninja Storm Rangers, because Lothor is back. He crawled his way out of hell, awkwardly reminding us all of when Viper did that in another terrible crossover. But yeah, Lothor crawled out of the abyss and wants revenge, where he brainwashes the Ninja Storm Rangers into being his new evil generals so he can take over the world once more, forging an alliance with Mesagog to eliminate all Power Rangers for good. And I've been waiting for this for a long time. Lothor going into Dino Dung. Lothor is one of the worst Power Ranger villains ever. Now, granted, Divatox is far worse, but I do not like Lothor. Lothor is a lackluster villain. I never cared for this guy back when I watched Ninja Storm, and I was not at all surprised to learn from Linkara that this is one of the most despised Power Ranger villains ever. Lol, imagine if the Overdrive were the only Rangers in the RPM universe and they died fighting. Hey, Mac was awesome. At least fuck the blue, actually. Yeah, shut up, Dax. That's a meme for a reason. Alright, so Not a big fan of Lothor. Now granted, he's miles better than Divatox, that's for sure, and you could probably point to some other villains who suck, anyone from Operation Overdrive definitely, but Lothor has never been one of my favorite villains. He's not all that funny, his design is really cheap and god-awful, the actor playing him is way too hammy and over the top, and pretty much what solidified him is that he's a complete joke. Even the show makes fun of Lothor. Mesagog himself actually calls Lothor an idiot and a fool and one of the worst villains of all time. He forms a temporary alliance with Lothor because he needs to get rid of the Dino Rangers, and with Lothor brainwashing the Ninja Storm Rangers, who are veteran Power Rangers by this point, it seems like a good deal to work out. Up until part 2 happens and then Lothor quickly loses. Oh, the two villains who are part of the Super Sentai villain group. He looks like a Japanese Oni Lucha Libre. Yeah, kind of what he is. Hey, Kat, made it to this tier list. Sorry about missing the last one. Hey, Christopher, glad you made it. Yeah, we're talking about Lothor now, and I have been looking forward to this forever. Lothor sucks, okay? His personality is way too goofy. They give him an interesting backstory, but he is not that great a villain. He's stupid, he's overconfident, he's a complete joke. The actor is not once scary. He goes for a lot of comedy, and it feels like a new generation's Divatox at times. But Divatox I hate more because she was just more annoying. Lothor, way too jokey, way too goofy. You do not take him seriously as a threat after the pilot. That's how bad he is. And you want to know the worst part with Lothor in Samurai's journey in Ninja Storm, his past self was actually kind of threatening. Makes me wonder why they didn't make this Lothor similar. Yellow was cool, just got captured a lot. Black Ranger was cool and awesome, and Mercury Ranger was funny, and Pink had her moments. Pink had some moments, but she had a crush on Mac, who was a robot. No one brainwashes Tori, my best girl. Well, Lothor did. Lothor, get his ingenious plot. Basically, he posed as the sensei and gave them poisoned morphers. And that worked. Yeah, that's all he had to do. An entire season of Ninja Storm, and you took out the Ninja Storm Rangers with that much ease. Yeah, Lothor turns Shane, Dustin, and Tori into his evil Ranger generals. We also have his two idiots on here. These are Lothor's two minions. They don't say much, but they fight like the Dickens. Well, Lothor, that also makes them incredibly boring. Yeah, these two are Lothor's minions who are, spoiler alert, do nothing. They are completely voiceless, mindless jobbers who get their butts kicked by the Rangers in the team up. Yeah, finally got our last one-shot characters out of the way, and basically, they amount to nothing, just like Lothor. Lothor takes over the Academy again, he catches them all in a genie bottle, and he has the Rangers completely under his thumb. The Navy Rangers and Green Samurai Rangers somehow lost their powers. Yeah, I still don't understand how. Lothor is once again taking over the world, of course, and he's working with Mesagog, and I do like how Mesagog does not take Lothor seriously at all, as he should, and it really is night and day how Lothor and Mesagog have nothing in common and feel like they walked off two vastly different Ranger eras. But no, he's a comedic goofball, which I never found threatening at all. Yeah, Lothor is not menacing. That is kind of the thing. In the flashback, he actually was serious, but here, nope, he's a joke. Yeah, he brainwashed your best girl, Tori, Akira. His Super Sentai version is better, like, why not get that design? Well, they wanted to do their own thing, and it was kind of like a meta joke how Lothor and the Censor were played by the same actor, but he gives Lothor this weird Japanese southern cowboy accent, and It does not work. I could not understand half of the stuff he said. He and Mesagog work together, they fight the Brainwash Rangers, but then the Thunder Rangers and Green Ranger actually are the true heroes who save the day. They snap them out of their brainwashing through deception, then they team up and fight the stupid jobbers and all their minions, and big surprise, they kill them all. Lothor completely loses everything in this battle, and it leads to the best moment of the crossover, Lothor versus Mesagog, and you can bet I was so satisfied seeing Mesagog, one of the best villains, pussy whipping Lothor, one of the worst villains, putting him in his place. He beats up Lothor in a villain brawl, and catches him in a jar, turning him into an action figure. A rare collectible. Yeah, say goodbye, Lothor, and this time, I mean it. Like Divatalk's worst villain, but too sexy. Yeah, they made her hot for the parents watching. I see we're doing one of my personal favorite Power Rangers series for obvious reasons. Yes, I'm a Dino nerd. Yeah, Dino Thunder is a good show. Hey, Mac was handsome. He was a machine, Greyhopper. Very collectible. He has the best battleizer. Nah, I think Leo and Andros definitely have better battleizers. Why a genie bottle than an ancient Japanese Buddhist paper? Well, because they did not care. And Lothor's nieces end up saving the day. They save the sensei, and they stole the genie bottle with all the students and released them, and I guess the Ninja Storm Rangers somehow sense that Lothor is no longer a threat because they completely ignored that he was defeated and don't know that Mesagog captured him in a Pokeball. Yeah, Lothor is turned into an action figure and in a jar, and we all presume he died when Mesagog's lab was blown up. Yeah, it is kind of hilarious thinking that Lothor was trapped alive, but then the castle burned down when the Dino Thunder Rangers invaded, and we assume Lothor perished in that fire because he was trapped in the jar. I love how Mesagog beat him easily. Yeah, of course he did, because Lothor sucks. He became human, though. I love Mesagog as a villain in this, very apex as fuck, and the practical effects of the makeup is amazing, just like the creeps from Goosebumps and the lizard aliens from the V series. Yeah, Mesagog looks very good to this very day. Which you think is a better villain, Megatron from Beast Wars or Mesagog? Ooh, that is pretty hard. I like them both. I might have to go with Mesagog just because he gave me more nightmares, while David K was a lot more funnier as Megatron. Yes. But yeah, Lothor sucks. You are right to hate him. Speaking of which, let's get our last bad character out of the way, the White Dino Clone, and this one going on to Cassidy Clueless. This is the clone of Trent, the copy of the White Dino Thunder Ranger, the evil personality turned into a robot servant, basically reprogrammed by Zeltrax to be utterly loyal to Mesagog, and talk about a completely wasted character. The White Dino Thunder Ranger is cloned by the copycat monster and is brought back to fight the Rangers again now that Trent's turned to the light side, and he initially started out as a cool badass minion, then he became a complete punching bag the Rangers trounced. Best villain fight also? Yeah, it kinda was. Hey, he was cool though. Lothor? No, he wasn't, but the clone, okay, he started out cool, and I love that the clone was back, the clone was getting revenge, Trent became his arch nemesis, but as the series went on, he really started to suck. One, he was losing powers. Because there were two White Dino Thunder Rangers, he was disconnected from the morphing grid. He started struggling in the fight, and by this time, the Dino Rangers were much better. They were leveling up while this guy stayed consistently at the same rank. The Dino Thunder Rangers got better, got more badass, got more arsenal, got better weaponry, and this guy kind of faded into the sidelines. He was losing power, and it got to a point where Mesagog wrote him off completely as a loser. He was weak, he was nothing, and Basically, he goes out in a very anticlimactic showdown. It turns out this guy was jealous of Trent and wanted only one white Dino Thunder Ranger. Like, now they gave this guy character development in, ironically, his death episode. I'm tired of living in your shadow. When this is over, there will be only one white ranger. I got no problem with that. No, Lothor wasn't cool. No, I meant evil Trent. No, we are talking, this is the clone. This is the clone. Trent and the evil guy will be put in the same category of S tier. This is the knockoff bootleg clone because he has the slightly different armor. Imagine if there was an evil gray Hopper clone. Oh yeah, I am the evil one. Dang. Well, then there's a good one hunting you down. Duck Dodger's robot version that Queen Tyranny cut up seems more convincing than the white Dino Thunder robot. Yeah, I remember it, Duck Dodgers. So Tori wasn't in this list. Sorry, the Ninja Storm Ninja Rangers are not on here. I counted Lothor because he and his villain squad made it on here. Dang, I kind of relate to this clone. Yeah, sorry, if Tori was on here, she'd be on S tier, but don't worry, she's S tier on the Blue Rangers. Ninja Storm we'll talk about one day, but doing Dino Thunder because I watch it. The clone ended up being punk killed. He's fighting Trent in this one-on-one duel, and it's supposed to be this great triumph because Trent finally vanquishes his evil side through this guy, and the clone sort of has a "you've done very well, you were a worthy opponent" type of moment, but it really doesn't work. It's very rushed, very anticlimactic, and I don't really feel anything because he's been nothing but a one-dimensional evil villain for his entire lifespan. So yeah, he basically gets punk killed, and he could have been so cool, but got worse as the show went on, and Trent basically mercy kills him. He dies, he blows up, doesn't even turn giant or have a Megazord brawl, and Mesagog pretty much stopped paying attention to him. He turned off the TV when he started losing to Trent. That's how pathetic he got. No, I'm the one hunting the good one down. I'll get him one day. Blaze Hopper will be destroyed. And I'll be the only Hopper deserving all the power. Muhahaha. Also, the late Jason David Frank, God may he rest in peace. And this was nice to bring him back ever since the 90s and for the crossover for the 2000s. Who else misses Jason David Frank? We all do. Technically, he was in the Forever Red crossover, the Wild Force one, which was only 2 years before this show, but somewhere in that timeline he got his paleontology doctorate. Alright, next we'll bump off Haley, our last ally, Haley, who will go on to Apex Predator. I'll put her below the weird copy monster. Okay, so honestly, the only reason why she's an S tier is because what could have been is so much more interesting than what we got. So, Haley was not supposed to be an original character. Her character was supposed to be, I kid you not, Cat. Cat the Pink Zeo Ranger. Cat, who I still refer to as that bitch who replaced Kimberly. Yeah, Catherine was supposed to be in this show. Cat was going to be the mission control character for the Dino Thunder Rangers, and eventually the Pink Dino Thunder Ranger. Cat from Zeo was supposed to return in this show, basically as an old flame re-sparking her relationship with Tommy Oliver. Cat moved to Reefside by pure friggin' coincidence, and it turned out Tommy was going to reunite with Cat, and Cat was going to be the team mom for the Dino Thunder Rangers. Unfortunately, they could not get Catherine Hillard to commit to the series, so they replaced her with Haley. Zeltrax, we're saving him the best for last. Yeah, we all miss Jason David Frank. Do you think a season about the Rangers who each use an animal class? Didn't Wild Force kind of do that? I miss Cassidy. I must admit that her nerdy self from the leader of the Whack is actually hotter, yeah, than her actual other appearances. And that her actress played one of Lothor's nieces. Yeah, I brought that one up. She was The insect-looking niece, the one who wore the Trachina goggles. Wolf Red better. Basically the Oracle to JDF's Batman, if you will. Yeah, that's kind of her thing. She's the mission control. She's the Oracle. She's in the tech room, basically telling the Dino Thunder Rangers what to do. She became the mentor figure for them when Tommy was MIA. Tommy was abducted by Mesagog. They saved him. Then Tommy was frozen in carbonite by the White Dino Thunder Ranger, and she was trying to hatch him out of there, but took over as the leadership role. And basically, she's building a whole bunch of tech, and I find it kind of weird that this lady who should be building technology for the military or NASADA is working at an internet cafe. Yeah, she's like running like this not Starbucks juice bar where the teens hang out, and that's her day job, while secretly moonlighting as this chief science officer building Power Rangers weaponry. It's like, girl, you would make so much more money building this tech for Lightspeed Rescue or the military. I meant like Red use mammals, but oh, okay, animal classes. You mean like mammals, reptiles, insects? Okay, that kind. Yeah, that could work. Haley looks like a perfect Mary Jane or Daphne. Ismay Johnston is Haley's actress. Greyhopper lore on my channel. Yeah, that would have been more interesting. I mean, Haley was fine, but it would have been nice to have another Power Ranger Illuminati. Yeah, I really wish they did get Kat, but apparently Catherine Hillard couldn't commit, and especially because the show was filming in New Zealand by this point, so she was probably not gonna move to be on a few episodes of Power Rangers, especially for a side character. I wish we got Kat because there was going to be a love triangle between Tommy, Kat, and Elsa, and throwing Zeltrax into the mix. That would have been hilarious, but no. Tommy and Kat were supposed to reunite in this, and I believe get married at the end of the series, confirming that ending in Zeo, which you all really loved. They became a couple in the future, and had a Power Ranger family. Their son became the Green SPD Ranger in the comics. Wish they got Kat, but no, we got Haley, who's an OC and sort of a stand-in for Kat. She's the tech expert. She's the moral compass, the heart of the team, helping raise the Rangers like the team mom, basically. Haley was a fine character, which is why she's on A tier. Apparently, Haley was going to be the first lesbian in Power Rangers. There was going to be an ending scene in the finale where she went off on more adventures with a woman implied to be her lover, her girlfriend or wife or whatever, and basically they ride off into the sunset, Legend of Korra style, and that was going to confirm that Haley was gay. This scene was completely cut because of how rushed the finale was, and allegedly because of politics at the time, we were very much afraid to have gay people on children's shows back then, so it ended up not happening. I believe some fans still theorize that, yeah, Haley is still probably a lesbian, but it's just never touched upon. Sorry, catch up on comments. Yeah, I wish they did get Kat, too. Kat would have been much better. Yeah, red mammals, blue uses birds, yellow reptiles. Wouldn't green be more fitting of reptiles, or is that going to be insects? Nah, not crippled or traumatized by the Joker. Super Sentai counterpart, exactly. Shadowlink. She doesn't want to work for big suits. Insects, do you mean grasshoppers like me? Hey, what? Like Haley didn't become the Pink Ranger? Apparently not. I believe like she was also up for a Ranger candidacy, but never happened. I'm kind of curious how Haley knows Tommy Oliver and is well aware of all this Power Ranger lore. Apparently, it would have made more sense if this was Kat, but no, it's some girl that the Power Rangers might have talked to and interacted back in the Zordon era, and she's now a grown adult running this internet cafe. Yeah, I find it funny. Internet cafes were all the rage back then. It's basically the juice bar for the new generation. At least we have Izzy, who wouldn't come until, like, Beast Morphers and Cosmic Fury. Also love that episode with Tommy facing off against his past Ranger selves, and again passing of the torch for Tommy becoming the new Black Ranger for the Dino Thunder team. Haley is just chill like that. Basically Zoe Lee from Miraculous. Yeah, except Haley never got to don a power suit. I think Haley's fine. I just wish this was Kat because, man, what could have been sounds so much more interesting, and it would have been nice seeing Tommy and Kat actually officially hook up in this season, thus confirming all the future stuff in the series. And yeah, that stupid Zeo episode where we see old man Tommy and Kat. And it was cringy back then, but yeah, it was sweet that Tommy and Kat found love together. I just wish it was Kat. That's why she's not S tier. Haley's fine. We'll put her on Apex. But let's end this on a positive note with Zeltrax and his alt form Super Zeltrax. Yep, Zeltrax, he went on F tier back on the crossover with SBD because they ruined him, but Zeltrax also going on to Triassic Triumph. We'll put him above Anton Mercer. Yes, this is his alternate form, Super Zeltrax. We'll just put these guys together. She's more like Pixel from Ninjago or Misako. Tommy had 2 kids, though. Yep, ending on the positive note with Zeltrax. Zeltrax is Mesagog's right-hand man, and funnily enough, in a twist, the Starscream of the team. Zeltrax is this cybernetic super soldier who serves Mesagog as his primary enforcer. He's at first the elite general and also kind of a tech guy behind the scenes. He and Elsa work together at making monsters until the day comes where Zeltrax gets betrayed and goes out on his own, striking it solo, becoming the Starscream of the show. They do try to fake you out into thinking it's going to be Elsa, but no, it's Zeltrax, who we slowly learn more and more about over the course of the series, and he goes from big scary enforcer dude into a surprisingly well-rounded villain. If Mesagog was the Lord Zed of Dino Thunder, then Zeltrax is the Goldar of Dino Thunder, a huge rivalry with Tommy. Yeah, I would consider Zeltrax as kind of a repeat of Frax from Time Force, albeit far less sympathetic than Frax. We find out Zeltrax is actually a scientist named Smitty, who used to be Tommy's best friend turned rival. He and Tommy Oliver used to work for Mercer's company, but Smitty got jealous of the Green Ranger because Tommy Oliver was better than him in every way. He tried to outdo him, tried to outclass him, tried to one-up him. When Tommy got a promotion that Smitty was denied, he struck out on his own, did an experiment gone wrong, which completely destroyed him. He tried to do mixing DNA with dinosaurs and humans, just like Mesagog, and it somehow blew him up. Mesagog found his carcass and rebuilt him into Zeltrax. Kind of similar to Frax, he was once a scientist who tried to do good, but ended up being quote-unquote betrayed by a friend, and he was horribly mangled in an accident where he turned into a cyborg, now hell-bent on revenge. But unlike Frax, Smitty was not sympathetic, very much lost himself to his hatred. I would say he's also kind of like Dr. Adler in a way. He envied Tommy, but Tommy always kind of saw him as a friend, which makes his betrayal and reveal as a villain all the more heartbreaking. Smitty. Smithy. No, they did call him Smitty. Was he Smithy? I do know. I heard Tommy call him Smitty. Mesagog has fallen. I, Zeltrax, am the new leader. Zeltrax, aka Soundwave and Starscream. Yeah, he starts out as kind of a Soundwave. He's the no-nonsense minion, dead serious, gets things done, until he and Mesagog stab each other in the back, and he turns into the Starscream and becomes a final boss in the finale. Tommy had 2 kids, though. I know JJ was one of their names, and yeah, one of them became the Green SBD Ranger. Yeah, Zeltrax and Tommy were total rivals, and that's what made him very interesting. He had it out for the mentor figure and none of the Rangers personally, which made Connor beating him up feel all the more satisfying. Zeltrax was voiced by James Galen, who later played Colonel Mason Truman. Ah, that's right. Mesagog has fallen. I, Zeltrax, am the new leader. Well, I would say he's more like a rogue Starscream. He struck out on his own, had his own villains plans, and kind of rivaled Mesagog 2 as the show went on. His suit actor via Super Sentai footage from Aba Ranger was Yoshinori Okiyamato. The name Zeltrax has a strong guttural sound that fits with the character's menacing, powerful persona. Very much agree, Shadowlink. Smithy. I thought they didn't call him Smitty. I do know Tommy said Smitty. The reputation of the X sound at the end gives it a harsh, formidable quality, which could be intended to evoke a sense of strength and ferociousness. For example, the name could be a blend of words like zeal, passion, or fervor, and trax, which might be a variant of tracks or traces suggesting a path or legacy. Did he add Knight DNA too? Yeah, he's got like that weird battle axe and shield, kind of like an old-fashioned knight. Zeltrax is, at first, extremely loyal to Mesagog, even selling out his son, the White Ranger, to him. It isn't until we find out who he is and that he wants Tommy Oliver dead that Zeltrax truly starts coming into his own. He had a crush on Elsa. Elsa pretty much simped for Tommy Oliver, pissing him off even more. Zeltrax is assumed dead. His Megazord dies and blows up. We believe he died too, but it turns out he survived. He stole from the Deadwood tree and started going out on his own. He upgraded himself to Super Zeltrax, this alternate form here, to give him a final form. Then he started constructing his own Megazord, the Zelzord, to basically kill the Rangers himself. And we do see Zeltrax is in the shadows working on his own, hatching his own villain scheme, and this comes into confrontation with Mesagog. The Starscream. He did add Knight DNA too. I'm getting real tired of this. Just who are you? Does the name Terrence Smith mean anything to you? What? Smithy? Don't call me Smithy! Armor of Darkness, Super Sentai counterpart in Aba Ranger. So funny, Dr. Doom. Yeah, kind of that too. He was also working on an invention that Tommy said was unstable, and that blew him up and gave him a new power armor suit. Kind of like Org from Wild Force, or more specifically, Vlad Plasmius from Danny Phantom. Yeah, basically, Zeltrax is that rival. Tommy thought they were friends, but no, they weren't. Smithy was completely jealous and envious of the former Power Ranger, was pissed off when Tommy got a promotion that he wanted, and Mesagog reforged him into a minion after his science experiment went horribly wrong. He owes his life to Mesagog and served him loyally up until the events of the show start turning them against each other. Did the second one die like the kid who became the new Zeo Red die? Or whose two kids were their grandkids? They had grandkids in Zeo, but apparently they had children too. Dimensions in Danger does reveal that they have a son who also became a Power Ranger, and fans are kind of split on this because it does feel kind of weird that they're a Ranger family. Because they were old in those Zeo episodes. Yeah, Grandpa Tommy and Grandma Cat. That old makeup did not look good. And Jason David Frank, he is a legacy in Power Rangers, but basically did this god-awful Doc Brown impression as old Tommy. It was a lot more funny. Never forget Zeltrax had a son. I like the Lost Galaxy Starscream more. Yeah, Deviant, he was a lot more fun, flamboyant, and over the top. Zeltrax a lot more dark and mysterious, but that also made him cool. So Zeltrax is hatching his own schemes eventually. We find out he actually destroys the Power Ranger base. He tracked them down to where they were living, and Yeah, Zeltrax actually gets major points for that. He trashes the Dino Cave, destroys Tommy's lab, and abducts human Elsa because I guess he still has feelings for her. He wants her to be the new only sole survivor human in his new regime. He stole the Dino Gems and their tech to build his own Megazord, the Zelzord, which ironically was Mesagog's final form, making Zeltrax a lot more threatening. Zeltrax gets his own super duper Megazord and fights the Dino Rangers in the ultimate final Megazord fight, where eventually they're forced to use all the Megazords and sacrifice them all to destroy the indestructible, out of control Zelzord. They destroy his super weapon, Super Zeltrax falls out of it, and Tommy and Kira, of all Rangers, are the ones who get the final fight against him, blowing him up for good. But in a twist, it turns out Zeltrax was not the final boss, even though he was a lot cooler than the Meso monster. Mesagog survived and he came back for more. Like it is done. Like, are we getting Goosebumps games ranking? Well, I haven't really played the Goosebumps games, Akira. I do remember playing the Horrorland video game, but the mini golf challenge was annoying. Man, I should hire him for my hopper hunting plans. Well, unfortunately, Grey Hopper Zeltrax is dead now. He blew up. So, one thing I do want to mention is Zeltrax was also supposed to have an alternate backstory. Apparently, there were rumors ping-ponging around in the room that Zeltrax possibly would have been a former Power Ranger from Tommy's era. Yeah, there was going to be this big reveal that Smithy was not going to be the original Zeltrax. One of the former Mighty Morphin Rangers was going to be Zeltrax. And there were a lot of rumors going around. It was going to be Jason, Billy, or even Kat. Like, they were really wanted Kat back. They thought it'd be funny if Zeltrax was actually a woman under that suit. Kind of like Samus Aran. They thought Jason, Billy finally coming back, or Kat would have been Zeltrax. But what I think they really should have considered was, wouldn't it have been cool if Zeltrax was actually Rocky? Like, Zeltrax was Rocky, who was rebuilt after his accident in the Turbo movie. Yeah, remember Rocky did that death-defying martial arts move where he hurt himself and he ended up in the hospital, only to be replaced by a 12-year-old boy? Like, wouldn't that have been so cool if, while Rocky was in the hospital, he got rebuilt and reforged into Zeltrax to be a better warrior? I kind of wish they did do that plan where Rocky was Zeltrax and they were going to break him free of his robotic mind control, a la Astronema and Ecliptor kind of, and Zeltrax was going to be one of Tommy's former best friends. Unfortunately, like everything else, these plans didn't fall through. They couldn't get any of the Mighty Morphin Illumini, so Zeltrax ended up being the Smithy character. Well, that would have been a dark, tragic twist. Yeah, Rocky became the villain, and Rocky always did kind of envy Tommy. I mean, how cool would it have been if he was, like, pissed off that Tommy got to be the Red Ranger, and Rocky, who was the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, was demoted to the Blue Zeo Ranger, and secretly hid his envy and jealousy all along. That all of Zeltrax's rivalry with Tommy is reimagined as Rocky and his secret envy of Tommy Oliver being a better Ranger than him. That Tommy got promoted to Red Zeo Ranger, even though he was the Red leader at one point. That Rocky hurt himself in this stupid martial arts move and got replaced by a little child, and was pissed off that the Rangers moved on without him. That's why Zeltrax is rivals with Tommy Oliver. Rocky should have had a rivalry with Justin for replacing him. Yes, he should have. Also, there's a new Goosebumps game coming out with Terror of Little Creek. I'll have to look into that. I heard rumors that a new game was coming. So why didn't Jason Lee Scott show in Dino Thunder as the Silver Dino Ranger? Probably the same reason Kat didn't come back. They couldn't get the actor. Also, Kat, what do you think of Mesagog's final form in the finale of the series and the final fight? Yeah, if you weren't here for that, I put Meso Monster down here in Beta Drone. I did not like his final form. It looked very goofy. He looks like he's fat and overweight. It's supposed to be like spike armor, but it made him look like a fat velociraptor, and oh boy, that neck. The Meso Monster's neck like stretches out, kind of Evil Dead 2 style, and it looks very phallic. I could not help but laugh at this thing. Easily one of my least favorite Final Form monsters in Power Rangers. Dang, does anyone want to help me hunt some hoppers? It has to be Rocky. Yeah, imagine that. What if Rocky was Zeltrax? That Rocky got rebuilt in that hospital and turned into Zeltrax. He met Mesagog there, or Anton Mercer, and was rebuilt into Zeltrax. Same, that's why we twin. Has to be Rocky. Well, that would have been a dark, tragic twist. Rocky should have had a rivalry with Justin for replacing him. Where get a Goosebumps version of Sabrina Miraculous mixed with Velma Dinkley? Yeah, she looked like Sabrina and Velma. Please do a Power Ranger Allies tier list next. I'll think about it. We still got to do the 6 and extra Rangers. I'm loving this Rocky villain arc. Yeah, Rocky as Zeltrax. Somebody make a what if comic of that. What if Rocky, in that hospital ever since Turbo, was rebuilt into this robot warrior and was working with Mesagog all along to get revenge against Tommy, and Rocky would kind of undergo, I wouldn't kill him off because I know some people like Rocky, but Rocky would kind of get an Astronema type of story arc where he is now more machine than man and he's letting his envy of Tommy get the better of him. Yeah, Rocky being Zeltrax all along, and that's why he hates Tommy Oliver, and Tommy and Rocky would finally bury the hatchet. He would free him, and maybe Rocky would hook up with Elsa after she was broken from her brainwashing instead. And the once and always could have been his redemption. Yeah. Rocky villain arc. Make that happen. So I remember Once a Ranger, Rocky came as a firefighter. Was he in that? I don't think he was. I remember he was in Dark Dimensions, Dimensions in Danger. Sorry. He was in Dimensions in Danger for like 5 seconds. I almost didn't recognize him. I thought they got Jason at first. If that monster was in the dark, it would have been scary. Yeah, it would have. In the daylight, it looks very doofy. Imagine the Mesagog final form in darker light. Yeah, it could have been scary. Like why Disney made Mesagog become fat in his final form. Well, it's supposed to be like armor and shaping him like a full-blown dinosaur, but he looks like an overweight velociraptor. All those spikes like made him hunch over. He looks very overweight, and he's got these fat legs, these fat sides, and has that stretched out neck, which looks very phallic. Great idea. Thank you, V Scorpio. Yeah, Rocky returns as a villain. Like, that's where he's been this whole time. That should definitely happen, like, especially if SPD takes place in the future. Like, have Rocky, he was a villain at one point, and a generation of Rangers freed him. Yeah, Rocky became the Power Rangers equivalent to Darth Vader. That martial arts move that hurt him so badly, it made him unable to fight ever again until he got the robot surgery. But I guess Once a Ranger with adult Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with Rocky Red Ranger and Cat as Pink Ranger. So, I do like Cat, so unfortunately, as we know, the plans didn't fall through, and Zeltrax became the Smithy character, which I was fine with. I was fine with. I'm glad we got an original character on Power Rangers, and Zeltrax is definitely awesome. He is cool, he is kick-ass, and love his rivalry. I do like how they almost trick you into believing he's the true final boss after Mesagog seemingly goes down, but nope, he's back for more and turns into this stupid final form. But Zeltrax was definitely a worthy final boss, and you bet I was pissed how SPD pissed all over his legacy. His eyes just lightning in the darkness. That would have been cool and creepy. I wish the Disney Plus reboot could do that. Yeah, but it sounds like Disney Plus is going to hit the reset button. I'm kind of okay with them starting over with a whole new Power Ranger generation because there's a lot of continuity, and as we know, Nickelodeon did not do a good job keeping track of it. I'm fine with them starting Power Rangers over for a whole new gen, but please do not try to reboot the Mighty Morphin Team ever again. I do not want to see another Jason, another Tommy, another Kimberly. Like, we don't need the Mighty Morphin Team remade. We just need a new generation of Rangers. King Koopa from Super Mario Bros. Movie seems more better than the final form of Mesagog. Give that comic now. Give me that what if. Yes, please. Yeah, what if Rocky was Zeltrax, or Rocky came back as a Power Ranger monster? Like, that would make sense where Rocky's been this entire time, especially because nobody brings him up often. Like, Rocky wasn't even there in Forever Red, and I would suspect it was because he was Zeltrax or a villain off screen. What colors do you want the new Rangers to be? I think we could use a purple Ranger. Like, purple is one of the few colors we don't see enough of. They kind of count pink as that, but purple would be a fun color to experiment with. Yeah, they do mostly the basic colors. They try not to overthink them. I think the Mercury Ranger was a little overthought, but yeah. And I do like the one guy's suggestion that different animal types would have been an interesting concept, like mammals, birds, insects, and fish. That would be pretty cool. But we should get a Cosmic Fury crossover with the reboot Rangers. Probably not. Christina V or Lucy from Fairy Tail could play Kimberly Ann Hart in the reboot. We know Christina V played Kimberly in the video game. Like, lime green is one of the colors never shown in America. Yeah, that could be pretty fun. But anyways, Zeltrax is awesome. We're putting him on S tier. Him and his final form he turns into in the finale, because his final form is basically a polished version of his old form. So I really like Zeltrax. He's cool, he's creepy, he's competent. He was a deadly force to reckon with in his own right. He was definitely a unique Starscream, and SPD did him very dirty, but we'll do him justice here on my tier list because he's going on to S tier. One of the best second-in-commands ever. He is a Triassic triumph. But as you can see, that finally completes our tier list. We'll go over it one last time for any late birds, but we've now talked about all of them except for the Ninja Storm Rangers. I want that Cosmic Fury crossover. So, what's the next tier list gonna be, Kat? Any thoughts? I do have one Power Rangers idea in mind. I know we still need to do the 6/extra Rangers, but still putting that one off. I might do a Power Rangers one, but I also might do a Superman movie tier list. I was going to talk about every Superman movie ever in celebration for the upcoming one coming in July, James Gunn's new Superman. I thought that would be pretty fun. I talked about every Batman movie ever, so I thought, let's do every Superman movie ever. Now let's rank all the Gray Hoppers. How many are there? Alright, let's go over the list one last time for any of you late birds or any of you who skip to the end. At rock bottom is Lothor. Lothor, what a joke. Of course he sucks, but comparing Dino Thunder villains, I don't like the Mad Mackerel. We have Lothor's Jobbers, the Christmas Monster, the Phallic Crocodile, Expendable Idiots, and the Ka-Ching Monster, who is purposely a joke. These ones are total dino dung. It is done, and I wish we have Streaky the Super Cat. Yeah, that would be pretty cool, but I like seeing Crypto too. In Clueless Cassidy, a bunch of generic one-shot monsters. There's the Shark Man, there's the Cyclops, there's the youth-stealing monster, and we do have Clone White Dino Ranger. This guy could have been so cool, but ended up disappointing. I did not like his final episode because they kind of make fun of him and how far he's fallen. They are definitely C tier. Then, Beta Drone, a bunch of one-shots. We do have the Slifer the Sky Dragon, the comic book monster. Yeah, the Tyrannodrones and the Tripoids are on here, basically generic henchmen. Zeltrax's son, I might bump him up at least high on the beta drones. But we will put him under the dragon monster. The dragon monster, the ruby dragon were at least cool. But yeah, a bunch of monsters of the week, and Meso Monster is down here. I could consider the final form. Completely different character. I am not a fan of Mesagog's final form, and I've seen some awesome final forms on Power Rangers. Trakeena's, Ultra Org, Queen Banshira's solid form, and of course, how can we forget the Psycho Ranger's final forms? All a million times better. Not a fan of the Meso Monster look. Zeltrax should have been the true final boss. But in here, Apex Predator, got Tutton Hawken. He was pretty funny. Tutton Hawken's right here. Got the Copycat Monster. Got Haley, Devin, Cassidy. They're pretty funny. Nice Bulk and Skull tribute. I do have Deadwood on here. This is my favorite monster of the week design by far. Love the evil Lovecraftian tree monster. Looks like something right out of Mystic Force. We do have Elsa down here. Not my favorite henchwoman. I kind of wish they did more with her, but she's alright. And unfortunately, the one ranger who's on Apex is Ethan. Ethan is a fine ranger, not one of my all-time favorite blues. He's cool, he's funny, but I do think he's overshadowed by the S-tier awesome characters. But these are our Apex characters. Bye, Cat. Bye, Christopher. This was fun, Cat. See you next time, my friend, on what next list. Also looking forward to the next review. Thank you. Got that 4th of July one coming out. And it is done. Like, this is Golden Dragon Ranger Akira signing off. Okay, we can rank the Hoppers. It was fun to chat with you, Hoppers. Imagine Mesagog just boxed the Rangers in his normal form. That would have been way cooler. Alright, and finally, S tier. Anton Mercer, liked his redemption arc. He's no Mr. Collins, but I do like his surprise twists. He is definitely a fine character. Zeltrax, both him and his final form, awesome villain. Done so dirty on SPD, but here we'll fix that. He is an S tier villain. Really one of the best Starscream monsters ever. Loved his dark backstory and his rivalry with Tommy Oliver. He is one of the better second-in-commands. Then, Trent, awesome 6 Ranger, loved the evil white Dino Thunder Ranger arc. Trent truly earned his redemption and is one of the more complex Rangers on this list. Connor, awesome Red Ranger, of course he is. Got a lot of character growth, a lot of badass moments. He was S tier on our Red Rangers, and of course he's S tier here. Kira, easily the best of the trio, one of the fan favorite Yellow Rangers. All the boys crushed on her, all the girls wanted to be her, and she could even sing. Awesome Yellow Ranger, she's easily the best of the trio. Then, Tommy Oliver, was there really any doubt? Tommy Oliver's a legend. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank. You were awesome back then, and you're still awesome now. Loved him returning as the Black Dino Ranger. He is easily the best of the Ranger team. But our number one is Mesagog, who is an awesome villain. Scary, cunning, ruthless, a new generation's Lord Zed. Mesagog is one of the greatest and scariest Power Ranger villains ever, and to this day, I still think he looks horrifying and is a threat today. Mesagog is a classic, and he is definitely going on Triassic triumph. Until next time, may the power protect you. Bye, Shadowlink. Bye, everyone. Great video. And remember, victory's ours forevermore. Great line. Okay, so that completes our tier list. Mesagog number 1, Lothor, absolute 0. We talked about all of them. Take a snapshot if you can. I love Dino Thunder, and as you can see, we had a lot more positive than negative. A lot of the monsters even made it higher this time. Mesagog's number 1, Lothor can suck it. So, Dino Thunder is a good show, highly recommend it, and a lot of iconic characters up here. But that completes our tier list. We'll see what our next one is. I'm leaning towards a Superman-related tier list because the new movie coming out, but I do have a Power Rangers one in mind. As for videos, I do have a 4th of July special out on Patreon. Go check that out. It's a pretty fun top countdown list. We'll see what my next review is. I am planning a crossover, still patching things up and working things out, but that is most likely my next project. Anyways, this is a fun tier list. Thank you all for showing up, so I'll finally release you guys now. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and remember, victory is ours forevermore.